I was like, talking to Josh, he's going to use the NES Advantage. He's going to be save scumming, and he's going to have a great time.
This is the Imperial Scrolls of Honor podcast. I'm Josh Folan.
And I'm Jay Baxtron.
And we're going to be bullshitting about the formative years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. Today we are having a space shmup pizza party with Konami's 1989 porting of arcade legend Gyruss to the Nintendo Entertainment System. Emulation disclosure, I played on Nestopia on my PC. I started with a standard NES controller via USB and quickly learned your fucking hand will fall off if you try to really get anywhere in this game doing that. So I started playing with the power and busted out the NES Advantage to finish things out. Jay?
I played the exact same way, although I did not break out the NES Advantage.
So you didn't finish the game? You did not finish the game then?
I was more concerned, honestly, about wasting all of my lives and like messing up the save state process, like if my controller situation, because I've had like some glitchiness in the past, so I was kind of afraid to replace it with the new controller, and kind of I was afraid. I was like, oh, I'm not doing it, although I 100% agree you should use a turbo controller. Otherwise you will hate yourself. Like, full disclosure, my kids walked in and they were just like, Daddy, you are going crazy with your fingers right now. I was like, yeah, I'm tired. I need a break.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, I fucking very quickly was like, I don't have the physical capability to do this like this. This is not possible. Please rate and review the podcast. We feel really good when we read things about us talking into these microphones regarding video games. So please do that if you could. And what are we jamming on now? Jay, what are you jamming on now? Pac-Man?
So, a lot of things. So Pac-Man. I love this. It's funny because Pac-Man is an OG game. You know, it's a game that I played, started out. It was one of my original games playing on the Atari. And I would not have just gone to this game, but it was my parents. So my parents were in town, and back in the day, you know, my mom is the one who really got me started on Atari 2600 back in the day playing Pac-Man. And so, you know, they were here in town for the weekend, and obviously I got my new gaming set, not new, but, you know, got it fully set up with both Courtney and I got the TVs and everything.
First time they're seeing
it. Yeah, first time for them seeing like the full setup. Like, I just got it going, pretty happy, pretty stoked about it. And obviously they know I work in gaming, and so my mom's like, "Oh, do you have any games like that we used to play back in the day, like Pac-Man?" So of course I'm like, "Let me check the store. Give me 5 seconds." You know,
I'm pretty sure that's available. Let me fucking.
So of course I look on the store. I see Pac-Man. I see Miss Pac-Man. I see Galaga, and I'm like, "Yep, buying them all. $5, like that's a cup of coffee, doing it." And so it's funny because at first I download Pac-Man, and it's like the Pac-Man you see behind me, the normal original Pac-Man, and like, because the screen's not that wide, you know, on the other side of it, it's almost like arcade art on the side, like what you see on the side of an arcade cabinet. So it's pretty cool. And so I'm playing, I'm trying to get mom to play, and she's like, "Oh, no," because of course it's an Xbox controller. She's like, "Oh, no, if you had a joystick, you know, then I'd be okay." So it went from that to, after playing a few rounds, she picked it up and tried it, and then next thing you know, like later on in the evening, after we've like, you know, had dinner and whatever, she's like, "Hey Jared, turn on Pac-Man so I can be my high score." And it's hilarious to me because not only is she playing, but my dad starts playing, and I don't know if I've ever seen him play a video game, to be honest. And they're both jamming on Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and so yeah, it's.
So do you have to ship an Xbox to their house then?
Right. I mean, it's surprising. I forgot how fun it is for such a simple, basic game. You know, I still, even after they've left, you know, I found myself picking it up and trying to see how far I could get. So yeah, absolutely.
I thought you were going to tell me that you guys ended up having to go to Best Buy and buy a joystick.
I thought about it. You know, for a hot second, I'm like, what kind of controllers do I have? Like, what kind of joystick style controllers do I have? But honestly, what I ended up doing was taking my Elite controller And because of the multiple attachments that you have for that, the one where one of the sticks is like, maybe double or 3 times the length of the other one, I put that one on there just to have them kind of try it. Because, it's kind of funny because at first they're using like their fingers trying to pinch it and play with it like it's an actual joystick, until they kind of got used to it. Like, nope, they tried those ways at first, holding the controller awkwardly, but I got to give mad props to them because at the end of the day, they were holding it the right way and just got used to playing.
At least they didn't put it on the table like what's her fuck from Sega Visions. The the kid. What the fuck's that dude's name? Fucking kid Cool or some shit. We'll find out soon. Absolute.
That was great.
Issue 2's coming.
Right. Yeah. So playing a lot of Pac-Man, and then
you could have went and bought an Atari VCS also.
Oh my gosh, that's not. if it had been actually worth the money, then maybe that's a whole nother topic.
It looks cool.
But then continuing the slog through Elden Ring, I mean, it's what can I say that hasn't been said about the game? It's not as colorful like in a lot of places, but then you get to a lot of places that it really is a lot more colorful, like I would expect from like a Horizon Forbidden West or something like that. So, but I'm not going to dive too deep into it because it's really spoiler driven. But I really appreciate the difficulty at this point because there's a lot of games that I played over the last 3 to 5 years that are super enjoyable, but you just kind of get to a boss fight and you expect, all right, give me 5 minutes and this boss is going down, especially if you've gotten pretty OP, or feeling that way. But this is a game where even when I go back to fight bosses that I've done before, like if I'm just kind of sloppy, they'll still take me out. I still I may be way more powerful and can take them down, but if I'm kind of sloppy, like it really does require thought and like strategy, and I appreciate that. So definitely working my way through that one as well. And then Halo Infinite still, because season 2 finally dropped and they changed up the map, some of the modes, I'm back into that just for my PvP fix. So King of the Hill, like it's my new favorite mode. So they were promoting this last Spartan Standing, which is kind of like, just what it sounds like. There's 12, 16 people and a huge new maps, and you last person to survive wins, and that's okay. But King of the Hill I like better because it's still group based. You're still on a team. Some of these other modes are individual, and those are fun too. But I really like being on a team, getting to the hill, and basically saying like, "Come at me, bro! Like, come and take me down!" And so I just like that aspect. It's different from all the other modes. So I definitely have been finding myself playing that quite a bit these days.
Word.
And those are really it. I've been playing a little Lego Star Wars when there's time with the kids and things like that. But for the most part, it's really been Elden Ring, Halo, and Pac-Man of all games.
That sounds like enough to take up your time for sure.
Yeah, Elden Ring, I was stuck on a boss for a week. Like it was like I would play, go back to this boss, try beat my head against the wall for 30 minutes, and it's just like, all right, 30 minutes, that's all I got. I'll come back tomorrow. 30 minutes tomorrow. Still not working. Trying something different. I'll come back tomorrow. That's all it is. I can't really do it beyond that because I'm just so angry. It's like I came here to try to relax and have fun, and I need a break.
That's what it is. Yeah, I definitely don't have a game like that going on in my life right now.
Yeah, but I'm 100 hours in, and it's still. I feel like it feels like I could spend another 200 hours. Like I don't even know. Like I don't know how much more there is to the game, but it felt like I was closer to the end. But then I realized, you thought you were here, but you're not. Type of thing. So I don't know how long I'll be playing this game, to be honest.
Yeah. I still haven't heard much bad about it.
Yeah, still good. It's definitely still good, and makes me want to rage often, but still good. What about you, man? What you been playing? So tell me about this cities, man. What is going on here? Are we playing Sims in VR? SimCity in VR?
Is that what I'm playing? Yeah. The picture behind me is you don't actually get to name. It's kind of weird. It's surprising to me. You don't. At least maybe I haven't found that toggle yet, but. You can't name your city in the game like you can with SimCity.
Really?
Yeah, you don't get to name it. At least that I've found. But it's Josh Allenville behind me. Yeah. So population 997 right now. So it's fucking. Yeah, I've barely had any time to play at all. Until I yesterday got to fire it up for a little bit. I think I'd maybe played it once in the last 2 or 3 weeks. But yeah, man, it's fucking SimCity, dude. It's just SimCity. Like it's. And it's in VR, so it's there's a learning curve, there is a tutorial, and like I guess I did it before they did the update, and the tutorial was no question lacking in some ways. And just it was a little rough period, but even like what it taught you, not everything, and kind of, I don't know, left me wanting. And I finished the tutorial, and I was still kind of like, like, I don't really know. Okay, well, we'll just start building shit. And, you obviously, it's a fucking trial and error thing. Even, I don't know, how far is the tutorial supposed to go? You know what I mean? So, there's a learning curve for sure. But it's fucking, I don't know, man. I haven't played it. I think I've mentioned before on here, like I haven't played SimCity since SimCity 2000 on, my HP desktop in like 2003 is the last time I played SimCity. Yeah. So like I couldn't get into that game because of the complexity of the utilities, like the water pipes in particular. I remember just being like, I don't get it, and it's exhausting. I don't get how to make this work, and everything doesn't have water, and I fucking can't figure it out. So like, going into this, those systems are present here for sure. You've always had the electrical grid, even in like the very first OG SimCity. So, that is understood, and you get obviously how that works. Although even that here is a little different because, you build zones, and they populate on their own as part of the computer's processing of your city's development. So, it's not like you like build a building, So if you take a power cord or a power line up to a empty zone, that does not get power to a zone over here that might be connected, like some buildings over here, that maybe are connected to that zone. It doesn't pass through undeveloped land, I guess is what I'm saying. So like, and like, it's just weird because, I guess it's not, at least to me, immediately intuitive that I need to get this power line all the way touching something that's developed land that would actually conduct power, which makes total sense within the realm of the real world. But it's just little things like that. And then, the water, it's actually probably simpler than the power. In all honesty, the water has like a very visible, I think the power does too, but the like a very visible, like it services this range, from the pipe unit that you're laying down. Right. You can see how far it hits, and like as long as that radius is touching the developed building that in question, it has water, and will work fine. So there's a little bit of stuff to learn, and this one has like trash service. You got to have a fucking landfill. Like you of course have the police and the fire systems, and there's schooling and hospitals and like all this shit. And then it also has, it's not quite like I imagine SimCity these days. It probably goes down to maybe not quite Sims level. The Sims level, where you're controlling the individuals day to day, but you can probably zoom down and get pretty granular, I would guess. So like you can like your view you can go down to city level and you can see shit happening. Like you can I followed the other day. I like after I built my first police station, a cop car comes out and I like followed it around and like watched them. And, it's like they're like it's like half-assed business. It's like they the car like pulls into the yard of fucking cars or of houses and buildings and shit, like right up to the fucking window, like very. If a cop actually did this, it would be a problem. But they like pull, and then you see them get out of the car and they go inside the building and then immediately come out, like whatever they did in there, whatever. It's just they're like shit. It's happening, but it's not really smart activity. You can't really. But it is interesting that you can go down to street level and see the people walking around and going in and out of buildings and shit, and you can follow the cars coming, like the specific cars coming out of things. Yeah, so it's it's just it serves no beneficial purpose. It's just like something to do because part of the SimCity workflow is you're just waiting for shit. You're just waiting for money to accumulate, basically, so you can build something else, right? So you need. It's cool to have something at least entertaining to do and worth watching, So that's a fun element that maybe to me is new, and I'm sure, like I said, seasoned SimCity players or seasoned, City, I guess, was on other systems as well. This is just a VR port of a thing they've had going for a while. Really? Yeah, it's the first I've heard of it. But yeah, I guess it's been around for a while. A buddy of mine was tweeting at me about how it wasn't a fucking revolutionary thing or something. So yeah, I mean, but it's new to me, and that I'm enjoying that aspect of it, that I have something just busy to do. But yeah, it's fucking. I mean, it's all the shit's there, all the tools are there, and the Oculus isn't like, especially with this kind of much. There's a lot going on, obviously, beneath the hood on a game like this. So you're definitely not getting like absolutely gorgeous textures and stuff. It's very, it's kind of like walkabout tier. I don't even.
Gotcha.
I would say about walkabout tier, especially like the horizon and the shit. And they have a bunch of different maps too, so you can that's cool too, that you have like different options for what you're going to. You actually get to choose kind of the layout of what you're going to build your city on. Like the one I'm on right now, it's got these hills and shit, and like there's obviously the water to deal with. It's not just kind of, I don't know. I mean, they've always had maps too. Again, like none of this is mind blowing, but just having it in 3D to me, and 3D VR specifically, obviously, is a completely different fucking thing. That is absolutely has me. You could play this game forever. It obviously has no ending. Like it's
right.
It's Civilization tier, like kiss your life goodbye if you want to let yourself do it. So yeah, it's fucking great. And they've done some. There were a lot of big gripes when it first hit. And they've already serviced a lot of those things and done updates and shit. So they're staying on top of it and trying to fucking develop it and make it, fill in the holes. So that's good. If you're into SimCity, I don't know, I can't imagine why it wouldn't be absolutely fantastic.
Love a good SimCity. I feel like I've also played 3000. That was like the last one that I got into.
It's 2000. 2000 for me. 2000.
Oh, 2000 for you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was playing 3000. I played it for a little bit, and I think I just like got into other things at that time. I was like, yeah, this is all right. I don't know, but I could definitely be down for a VR version, though. I mean, anytime you expand VR to something that I already kind of like anyway, I'm willing to check it out.
Yep. Yeah. It's it's fucking it's fucking cool, dude. And like it doesn't have another thing. It doesn't have, which I never liked this aspect of anyways. But SimCity has the thing where you can kind of destroy. Like and they maybe this is something that they probably will eventually put into it, I would guess, or I don't know. So this is a game that's been in other systems, so maybe they have their fucking this is our thing. We're not making SimCity here. I'm sure that's their stance on it. So maybe they won't. But the SimCity always had like people. It was attractive to people to like build their city up, and then you could just turn on a bunch of disasters and watch it get fucking wasted. And like this does not have that aspect or that function, So, but like I said, that was never appealing to me, anyways. I don't like zero like Civilization 2. I've said before, like I don't care about the war. I just want to build and develop and like progress, So that isn't appealing to me. But for some people, I'm sure that is a part of SimCity that they really enjoy, and this does not have that. So fair warning, that's one detractor, I suppose, for it. But yeah, that's it, man. I have no time whatsoever. So just that little bit of walkabout here and there. I'll fire up and do a few rounds before I get into cities, but that's pretty much it. But I have played some fucking Gyruss. Let's talk about Gyruss.
That is the stage 1 theme of Gyruss, bringing us into our synopsis. Josh, what are we even talking about here? Like, what is this crazy flying game even about?
First of all, how fucking fire is this soundtrack? I downloaded the whole thing. You sent me the music this morning. I told you. I was like, and I had forgotten I'd done it. So like, the usual flowchart for that is I open the email, I open the fucking track on YouTube, I click the link, I start playing it. Make sure I know what it is, and then I go download it with my downloader, and I went to download it with the downloader, and I saw the entire playlist in the in the download history. I was like, oh yeah, I downloaded this whole fucking soundtrack already. Yeah, don't need to do that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, music is amazing. But yes, the synopsis for Gyruss goes as such. It's AD 2500, and mankind has penetrated the galaxy's fringes, establishing colonies of peace from Mercury to Pluto. Suddenly, the tranquility of the Milky Way erupts into a frothing fury as armadas of alien death ships swarm into our solar system like killer bees preying on an innocent bystander. No one is spared. Even beloved Mother Earth is stung. These vicious cosmic Visigoths, that the right pronunciation? Are war-starved Gyrussians, and led by the immortal Genghis Khan, whom they recruited from Mongolia centuries ago, they're out to trash civilization. With our galactic fleet flattened, you're the lone space cowboy who escaped the Gyruss Shroud of Doom. Now you must scorch through the galaxy, freeing planets by zapping endless enemy attacks with the neo-bombastic cannons of ultra-lasonic phasers. So, prepare for the fight of your life, and don't flinch, or else the entire universe will get pulverized. And that, dear retro gamer, is how box copy was supposed to be done in the late 80s and early 90s. It's a magnum opus of radically tubular writing. Bombastic, lasonic, cosmic Visigoths. It's all straight fire. It's amazing. It's fucking just amazing writing. And yeah, do you know what a Visigoth is, Jay? Do you know what that is?
No, I've heard that word before, but now I'm like, wait, I feel like I need to look it up. Like, I don't even know what that means anymore.
I did not, and I did look it up. And the Visigoths were early Germanic people who, along with the Ostrogoths, constituted the two major political entities of the Goths within the Roman Empire in late antiquity, or what is known as the Migration period. The Visigoths separated from the Ostrogoths in the 4th century AD, raided Roman territories repeatedly, and established great kingdoms in Gaul and Spain. So basically, they were badass sons of bitches, is essentially what they were. So
that's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that. I mean, it's just like, like how insane is it that they just like, it's just thrown in there. It's like, oh, they have Genghis Khan. They went and got him. Now he's in the thing. Right? There's no additional information. It's just Genghis Khan's part of the deal. Moving on.
I didn't even read the box art first, and I just went straight to the manual like I normally do, and I was like, the first line, like obviously we're going to talk about it, but it's so short, and they mentioned Genghis Khan at first, and I'm just like, wait, what? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, usually, it's funny you say that. I actually have a specific note in here. We talked about the manual. Like, usually I pull my synopsis from the manual, but in this case, the back of the box was where the real gold was. Not that the manual's not good writing either. We'll get to that, but yeah, what kind of game? Jay, what kind of game? We already said. I said in the opening moments what kind of game this is. What kind of game is this?
I mean, it's a flying shooter, I guess by category, but I mean, it's a flying shooter, but the stars are coming at you while you're piloting around the center of the screen. So this is very different than any flying game that you'll find today. I thought when we first were talking about this that it was going to be different than this. So this is not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I said it when we were talking about playing it, man. Like I cannot believe more games didn't try this. That there aren't more of these. This didn't become a subgenre of this genre, because it's so much better than the regular one, in my opinion. I don't know. Whatever. We'll talk about plenty, I'm sure. This was released in February 1989 on the NES, but started way back in April 83 in the arcades. As for happenings in February 89, there is some Rambo 3 news in that the Soviets' military occupation of Afghanistan finally ends on the 15th, and I don't know anything about any missiles! The 21st is the day your boy Pete Rose met with the commissioner to first discuss his gambling shenanigans.
No!
And then on the 24th, a 150 million year old fossil egg was found in Utah with a fossilized dinosaur embryo inside. So I guess that's some Jurassic Park news.
Nice. The
artwork with the cover art, and that's actually behind Jay right now. This is some fucking great artwork. Ultra is not fucking around on that front, or Konami, if you want to be probably more specific. A spaceship, maybe kind of A-fighter style, if you know your Star Wars references, which most everyone does better than I. I know that from the old school PC flight sim games, is the only reason I know that. But one of those is flying towards a star or planet or some shit. A shit ton of things flying at it, and some Star Trek warp travel light beams worked in there too to hammer home that it's flying fast. And it has that Ultra branding, too. So it has the black bands at an angle up top and bottom, and the title treatment in the top band. The title treatment is kind of like a simple silver metallic font, red bands above and below. Nothing too ornate with that, but I think it fits. And then the back has, as we already mentioned, some lit copy that's unique from the manuals. The accompanying 4 screenshots, at first glance, could probably be mistaken as identical, I think. It's pretty much the same fucking image, which, I can tell you from trying to screenshot things of this game to fill out the key art is just kind of what it is. The bosses are pretty much the only unique thing you're going to... I mean, I don't know. The enemies do change every level, but it's it's minute.
It's still the same thing.
Yeah, and then it says up top that 300 billion people are counting on you, so don't choke. That's the headline. It's not bad. And then, that synopsis blurb, rather. And the manual, which is in the show notes, as I always do, is maybe the most phoned-in manual that we've encountered in all our NES to date. This diminutive fucker, it's a slight 8 pages, including covers. It's all black and white. And it's really only 3 pages of game content. The rest is warranty info, FCC regulations, and Game Pack care guidelines. So, virtually no effort whatsoever. But that said, and I think this is comical as fuck, that I think I want to praise them because I think they cover all the necessary bases in those 3 pages. Like, I think everything is covered, and covered well, no less. So page 3 is titled "How to Save the Universe." That's the table setting blurb, and this is different than the box cover, but the headline, that's so direct, it's incredible. And this reads, when the opening screen appears, displaying a neo-revolutionary portrait of the savage Genghis Khan, press the start button. Next, press the select button to choose whether to guide your starfighter with attack control A or attack control B. If you select Control A, press the control pad in all 8 directions in a circular motion to command your craft. If you select Control B, only press left and right to rotate through the stars. And as I'm reading this for the first time, I was almost getting misty-eyed with how no bullshit it was. I just loved how they were telling you, I don't know, they were using the same flowery kind of really, really fucking over-the-top copy to convey these things ultra specifically. It was just, I don't know, it was really, really very incredibly well written copy, I thought, in this throughout. And then it says, finally, press the start button. Now you're moments away from an all-out confrontation with the Gyrussian forces of doom. All told, there are 39 zap-defying stages you must battle through. Unfortunately, you only have 4 ships to begin with. Once into an orbit of cosmic combat, your mission is to free the 9 planets in our solar system. And for those of you who flunked astronomy, those planets are Mercury and Neptune, or is it Pluto? I don't know. We'll discuss later. Between each planet are 3 warp zones loaded with alien attackers and unbridled terror. There are also challenge stages that you must blast through. Ultimate victory will only occur after you free the solar system's life-generating sun. So, that's the whole game, dude. In 1 page, they explain the entire game to you, and there's just, I don't know. I had no questions. No further questions, Your Honor. Fucking, you may fucking leave the fucking stand.
I like that, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. It made me almost feel like, wow, this is going to be so basic. Like, there's not going to be much variability. I had low expectations.
But shmups are basic as fuck. That's why I don't necessarily like them, is they are as basic bitch as video games come. They're at least not dancing around it, though.
They're just letting you know where we're at. Like, this is what we are.
Yeah. So page 4 covers all the gameplay button shit with headlines, alien life-sustaining weapons, and dueling with the aliens. Basically, the synopsis of this information is A is the special weapon with an underlying economy to it. B is your base gun. You can spam the fuck out of that. That's it.
It's weird, though, because looking at this, I wasn't sure which was which. I'm like, which one of these, the bombastic cannons or the phaser, is my normal one?
No, JJ. Don't. That'll be the last time in this episode you call that the phaser and not the ultra lasonic phaser.
Sorry, ultra lasonic.
Do not fuck around and cut that off there. Do not even fucking think about it.
I mean, with such high octane names, I expected gun and super bomb cannon. You know what I mean? They're both
lay waste to anything you needed to. It would fucking. I only used it on the bosses really, but it lays waste to whatever the fuck's in front of it.
I mean, once I got into it, it was clear. But looking at this first, I was just kind of all right, which one is which? I just didn't know.
Well, yeah, it's that's that Captain Skyhawk conundrum that we talked about. It's just every shit's happening so fast. I don't remember. But luckily, if you have a turbo controller, you never take your finger off that B button.
Oh my gosh.
So once you have that rolling, it eliminates that problem for you. And then page 5 is titled "Your Solar System Under Siege," and it's a piss poor black and white screenshot, albeit full page, with 5 labels on it: score, high score, number of surviving starfighters, number of ultra lasonic phaser boosters. Yeah, boosters too.
The
Don't forget
boosters.
boosters. Yes, ultra lasonic phaser boosters. Don't fuck around. And and then warp stage. And that's it. That's the manual. Now go play Nintendo, gamer child. Like no more information. That's fucking it. It's just fucking incredible that they could get away with that. Yeah. What history? Talk about. I mean, this guy has got fucking, like I said, it's got arcade lineage of fucking.
I mean, yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's 1983. That's what we're really talking about here. I mean, we went way back in the barrel for this. Like, yes, this one came out in 89 or whatever, but the arcade came out in 83. So, I mean, that's what you're going to get. That's why the manual is basic. That's why the buttons are basic. But
that's why the game's basic.
I mean, at the same time, there's so much here.
Isn't that amazing, though, that 6 years? I mean, whatever. They were still putting fucking Pac-Man on NES, sure, but, like, I don't know. I guess that's what it means, though, is that it is of the same, ilk as a Pac-Man or as those games that just fucking kept coming years after their heyday, So, I mean, I think that's a positive, I guess, about it. Sorry.
I mean... Yeah, I mean, they felt like it was Pac-Man like enough that they could kind of keep it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be interested to see what the thoughts were behind that. But I mean, yeah, they did what we've seen often and added a bunch of more stuff that wasn't in the arcade game. In the NES port. So the super phaser attack, whatever it's called, the second the A
ultra
button,
lasonic phaser boosters. Stop bucking around.
That ultra laser. I can't even say it. Where's the manual? The ultra
lasonic.
The ultra lasonic phaser. Yes. Booster. That thing apparently was not in the arcade. So news. Great to see that. The additional enemies, including the boss fights, were not there before. The bonus stages where you just get the chant stuff, that was not
those
in
weren't
the
in there
arcades.
either? No shit.
No, it was not there either.
God, that's on top of... There's almost like twice as many stages as there. I think it was 26 was the old...
24, yeah.
24,
yeah.
Okay.
So they added Venus, Mercury, and the Sun, apparently. And,
right, yeah, you stopped at Earth, right? Yeah, that's what I read.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that there's a full ending, which there wasn't really in the arcade. And then, of course, it wouldn't be complete without the Konami code. There's a...
I was hoping you were going to bring it up. I wrote it down just in case you didn't. Do you have the twist, though?
The twist? Like, it's backwards, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking wild, dude. Did you try it? I couldn't get it to work. I literally couldn't do it. I would like...
I did it. I wouldn't play... I didn't even start this game without it. I was like, nope. I played the game, and I was like, for 5 seconds, I was like, nope, resetting and putting in this code. Because I feel like I'm not going to make it.
I didn't even think that it... I found out, looking that up, that... I forget what the reason I found it. I don't remember what led me to it or why I was Googling shit about it. I don't have to deal with history with these. So it's not like I'm like looking for that shit normally. But when I saw it, I saw the list of I knew that they were in a lot of Konami. I didn't know it was like ever. You can play, it's in Ninja Turtles. It's in like in a bunch of fucking games, that code. I did not know it was so in every one. And some of them, like, what the fuck was it? There was one where you had to pause the game and then do it. They put it in so many different ways too. Got it in there. So yeah, I did not know it was as prolific as it was. So that's crazy to me.
Oh yeah. Sorry, are you saying you actually just played this game with the beginning lives and that's it?
It's coming my ass off, but yeah. Well, dude. I mean, I don't know. I can't believe you were able to do it. Like, guess how fucking hard that is. Like, after 35 years of up, down, left. I mean, like trying to stop. Not, and you know what I mean? Like, I do it that bad. It was so hard. It was so fucking hard to do to even get it. And maybe I didn't because I said I couldn't get it. It didn't. I don't think it worked anyways. You can't really, because it doesn't. Like in Contra, when you cut from the title screen to that status screen that tells you have 30 rests, So This doesn't have that. You go into the game. You have to wait for that fucking map first of all, and then you go into the game and. It's just the ship, the little icons ships, in the corner, and it should be full, right? I mean, it's full then when you have because the thing
there's
is when
a bunch there, yeah.
Is there more than like 5 or I don't know?
Yeah, I just knew that there was a bunch there. That was the only reason I knew it went through because I tried it a couple times. I was like, I ran out of time. Reset, tried it again, and I had to look at it written down. Like I couldn't in my mind say A, B. I had to write it down backwards and then say A, B, A, B, and do it that way. And obviously waiting until I got in, and then when I got in, I saw all those lives or ships down there. I was like, okay, it must have worked because I have more.
It's even hard to say. Like I'm looking at it right now, and I could so A B. I have to like, you know what I mean? I have to stop. Like you hear the weight, right? You hear the moment. Like I can say, up down left right. I can say that so fast, but A B. Right, left, down, up. Like so. Okay, so on the title, how did you start it while the legalese was still on the screen, or did you wait for the title screen to come up?
I think what I had to do was, because the timing was weird, I waited. I like hit a button just to get it to that title screen, and then immediately I'm like, A B, right, left, down, up, start.
See, I tried it both ways, and it didn't fucking work for me.
Gotta get those thumb workouts going on, Josh.
I gotta get my. I got it done before it cut to the fucking the thing behind me. I got it done before that. I don't know. I couldn't get to work though. In any event, that's fucking awesome. That's in there. Yeah, it made me so happy to read that. A little sad after the fact. Well, like I said, I was save scumming. I mean, I did at the end of the game. I had save scummed myself into a bit of a put baby in a corner thing with fucking. I only had the one life, and I was, you couldn't, no respawn opportunity, and I had to get all the way through fucking stages and the boss battle and shit. But again, with save scumming, who gives a fuck? You'll eventually get there. Word? Okay. Well, the economic analysis, I had one on my fucking plate. I was going to do it. I started looking at what it would cost to fly from the outskirts of the solar system to the sun in 1989, but the numbers I could find on shuttle missions were generalizations, and they were when I started like really thinking about it and factoring in the different payloads of the ships and trying to guesstimate what the one might be on this particular fictitious ship and stuff, it got really boring and really inexact. And honestly, the inexact part is what really derails me. I'm like, if I'm gonna do like. If I'm guessing too much, I can't. I don't know. My brain won't let me do it. Yeah. My brain won't let me fucking do it. So I tried, but it didn't happen. That is the chance stage theme, bonus level shit. And let's talk title screen. You fire it up and you get the Ultra Games legal bullshit, white text on black, then a simple title screen with the title treatment and yet another one of those Windows 3.1 Starfield screensavers, just like what we saw in Captain Skyhawk. It must have been like a commonly used piece of code at the time.
For sure.
But it's a wee bit more spruced up with some color. And then we get a quick fade to a tomato-faced evil being looming over Earth. I guess we're told this is Genghis Khan or something. He's also in the starfield, and one of your starfighters is flying and shooting at him with some story text below. And this reads, this is accompanied with a classic film ditty. That I wish I knew the name of. That's gotta be. Did you have it in your head? It's gotta be public domain music. It's so rampantly used in like cartoons and like old horror movies and stuff. It's like that. I butcher this kind of stuff, but like that. I'm not gonna do it. It's not gonna be good. the listener just heard it, and yeah, it is absolutely. It's in so many things. So they are definitely fucking public domaining it up with that piece of music. And the copy reads AD25XX, which so many of these games do. I don't know.
Right? Like nondescript in the future.
Yeah, that's so funny. Mankind must rid the universe of evil. It's a death-defying risk, and only a hero can succeed. That's it. It cuts to a no-music demo, as demos do. Let's play ball. You hit start and are prompted to pick that if you are not entering the Konami code, then you hit start, and are prompted to pick that aforementioned play mode, options A or B, that we talked about from the page 1 or page 3 of the manual, and those actions are accompanied by some pretty rad sound effects I like. I chose B, and that's just hitting the left or right to move around the circumference of the play area. Which one did you play with?
Dude, I'm very interested to hear what you thought about that, because I chose A thinking that was the logical choice. Like, why would you choose B? Like, that's what I was thinking at first. I'm like, I need more range of movement. Give me the most. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to use that.
Well, you don't get more range of movement.
No, it's just more buttons I got to press to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, like, playing, I got to say, at this point.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time even imagining how it implements. Like, I don't think I even tried it. I don't tried it.
There were times that if I loved this game and was having an absolute blast, I would start over, break out the NES Advantage, and use B. Like, easily. Because I was going through this, like, I'm pressing so many things between having all 4 directions just to move and jamming on the B constantly. It was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is just, this game is either not
like a lot emotionally.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, part of me was like, I think if I'd start this over, and I knew this was going to happen. I was like, talking to Josh, he's going to use the NES Advantage, he's going to be save scumming, and he's going to have a great time. And I'm not doing those things because I'm just trying to play this purely how I would play it at home, and I'm not having as good of a time. Dad got it. Like,
God damn it, that's funny.
And it starts with this choice. The A versus B choice. Oh my gosh, who knew, man? Who knew that this choice would have such?
I knew. The second I read that in the menu, I was like, this is like the fork in the road for sure. I mean, I knew it was an important decision, and I thought about it a lot, about what it would mean. You know, and I mean, I'll tell you right now, because there's the problem is there's no. That's probably one of the reasons, if we're going to try to come up with one, why this didn't become a serious thing, is because that play style, if you are going to be confined to the circumference like that, it leaves. I don't know what the good option is. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have a better solution. It's like that Akari Warriors thing where, like, you're trying to implement something, and I mean, I'm sure the arcade just had a joystick too, and I wonder what
you just had to. I feel like you just. But with a joystick, maybe you had to kind of do the whole range of motion. In this way on NES, at least they were making it simple.
See an arcade cabinet and know how they did it. If it was just a basic joystick, I would love to know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know but that's why they give you the option. Like, again, like Marble Madness too. Just like there's no perfect. It's just what works for you. I mean, and that's great that they gave you the option. Thank God. But yeah, I mean, yes, there were times, no question. Even final boss battle, I remember it happening where, like, when you get up on the top and it becomes backwards, essentially, from what you see, it's sometimes not and you fucking, no question, die because you can't process that backward, you can't do it. So, yeah, I mean, it's fucking weird, man. There's just it's weird at times, and it is frustrating at times. And it's a shmup, it's already going to be a frustrating game at times, so it's not perfect, but I think B is better probably because it has to be. It has to be because there would just get to be points where all of a sudden I got to remember, I got to move to the next one now. I can't use this. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, what the fuck? Okay, so
dude, oh my god,
if you are on the bottom left of the circle and you hit like 130 on the clock, if you hit that on your joystick, what do you do? What happens?
It does nothing. It does nothing. You have to hit like the next thing to like move you. It's like I'm almost like should I play it again right now? Just to, like, where are we at? Yeah.
Make sure I'm getting it
like
right.
You have to hit down and then the next thing. Like if I hit.
Oh, you have to like pull yourself out of it and then drag yourself around. You mean?
It's like I get to a point and then I have to.
You have the music played. I can hear the music. That's funny.
That was intense. So yeah, I mean, you have to
like grab your guy where he's at on the circle and then drag him.
No, it's almost like if I'm at the top and I hit down, it'll swing me down and then just stop me at the bottom. And like I can't go any further, and then I have to hit right, and it'll swing me up to the side. So it just takes you to
that place on the clock. Okay.
Yeah, but it's in the moment.
How does it
doesn't work like that.
Yeah, how does it know if you're at 12 o'clock and you want to go to 6 o'clock and you just hit down? Which way?
It takes me down.
But I mean,
it just circles me to the left. I don't know why the left, but
that's okay. So left every time. So it goes. So what? Counterclockwise every time. You're saying? Counterclockwise.
Maybe so. I didn't evaluate it that closely, but yeah, I know if I hit now, I'm like, do I try? Let me take a look.
Yeah, because I mean, clearly that's very important information because if you're trying to avoid shit on the left hand side, that's bad. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can hit. You have to, if you remember to not hit an entire 180 degrees is the solution, I suppose.
It takes you to the spot, and if I hit right, no, it actually went counterclockwise that time. I don't. Okay, is it?
It sounds like B's better. That's what it sounds like.
Oh, it's 100% B's better. It's almost like it takes me the direction the closest to get there.
Okay, that also makes a lot of sense.
I don't know, man. It's freaking. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know.
It's fucking Nintendo is what it is.
that was my exact problem. Like, I'd be at 12 o'clock and want to go to 6 o'clock, and I'm thinking it's going to take me this way, but it takes me this way, and enemy. You know what? It just. And then you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, big fucking decision. Big fucking decision. No question there. So then that same music cue fires up for the map screen, which is behind me right now, depicting your ship entering the solar system and heading towards what is shown as the outermost of the 9 planets, Neptune. Pluto is not the outermost, it's actually mentioned at other times in this copy about being Pluto is the outermost, which is a testament to how undefined this topic is, or how this topic has been fluid, I guess, maybe over time. And I think that's worth speaking about. So, astronomy lesson time. Pluto was first discovered in 1930 and thought to be the 9th planet of our solar system for the following 75 years. So, 2005, right? Though its orbit, and this was known, periodically comes closer to the sun than Neptune. So it was always understood that Pluto, at times, was not the outermost planet. But I assume it probably spent the bulk of its time, or a majority, outside of Neptune. So it was considered to be the 9th planet, right? So its status as a planet first came under scrutiny in the early 90s, and once a similar sized object named Gyruss was discovered in 2005. Pluto was officially relegated to dwarf planet status by the International Astronomical Union's defining the word planet. This was like a big piece of legislature for them. They defined the word planet, and Pluto didn't make the fucking cut. Pluto has 5 moons, Jay. Count them. 5. They are named Charon, Styx, Nyx, Kerberos, and Hydra, and I feel like those are Final Fantasy enemies.
Right? Hydra was definitely. Yeah, I'm like, wait, right. Nyx and Styx. Are those Pokemon, I feel like?
Yeah. Fucking this. Yeah, yes, they are.
They might from the
I don't play a lot of Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure they probably are. That's good. Anyhow, your little ship flies up to Neptune, and it's time to party. You cut to the play screen. The message 3 warps to Neptune comes up right there, center mass. And then your ship materializes at the bottom of the screen while the word ready appears. And then, boom! We're in. The shit hits the fan, and enemies are on top of you immediately as some absolutely lit stage music rips in that we heard moving into the last segment. And we do not need to talk about controls and HUD because we already did, because they're not that complicated. That was all covered in the manual-ette that we discussed. And so let's, I guess, talk about Neptune and kind of how this fucking game works. You are the most basic description of how of the game play area, I guess is what I'm going to refer to it throughout this, is you're barreling through space, and these groups of enemies swirl in from the edge of the play area tube. I think of it as a tube, right? And your movement pattern traces the circumference of that tube. And just as the Game Player Strategy Guide to Nintendo Games issue 6 pointed out, the smart money is lining yourself up with their entry point, at least here early on, and then fragging them before they can even fly down the tunnel and take root, which is what they do. If you do frag them all, you get a score bonus of 1,000, and each subsequent time you can take out a whole group in a warp phase before you get down there, before you get to the next warp phase, the bonus doubles. So it'll 2K, 4K, etc. So it stacks the more you can do those with. And yeah, beyond the first couple of levels, that won't happen much. Don't worry. If you do not kill them all, they do shit that fucks with your mojo. In this first stage, they just fly off into the distance and become little dots that you can shoot them, and you have to shoot them actually down there. I mean, I guess you can wait for them to fly up, but it's certainly advantageous to shoot them when they're dots. But they're harder, of course, because you have to perfectly line up to them on the circumference to get your shot to go down the edge of the tube, very Tempest-like. I guess we'll probably. This is the easiest comparison I can make with this is the Tempest thing. That it's like a kind of advanced form of Tempest, which I also love that game too. I used to play the shit out of that game. I had speaking of Windows 3.1, I had a arcade pack that like a. I don't know. I guess it might have been Atari brand. I don't know, but an old school. They were all wireframe games, and it was like it had Asteroid, it had Missile Command, it had Tempest, it had what the fuck. There were some other ones in there too, but classic 2600 type
Space
shit.
Invaders, maybe
Space Invaders. Actually, I don't know.
No,
yeah, because they were all
classic
things
wire game.
they lent themselves to wireframe, like Missile Command. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. But it was in one of those, and Tempest was the one I played the most for sure.
No wonder you like this then. If you like Tempest, seems very.
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's all it is. I mean, the Tempest is a little different in that the things all come. They don't come from the edges. They all come from down the tube, and they come up the sides of the tube. They're like
right. I just meant that round, like moving around the center kind of motion, which I've never seen otherwise.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, it's a fucking great game. That is one. It's weird. It's Tempest. There's got to be some modern fucking portings of it, but like I don't feel it gets like it is regarded in that era as being a great game, but I do not feel like it's got the modernization love that so many of those other titles do. And I wonder, there's probably a story to that, some sort of fucking rights.
You know what?
Problem.
You know what's funny though? You say that, and I look up and I see. 2 months ago, Tempest 4000, Nintendo Switch, and Atari VCS. Like it was an announced trailer.
Oh,
interesting.
VCS, yeah.
So somebody feels the same way you do.
Atari VCS, yeah, they're trying to fucking do something to differentiate themselves. Sure.
And the Switch, if you got a Switch, you never know.
I might have to cop that and fire up the Switch. Maybe that'll get me playing Zelda again. Just busting out Tempest. I wonder if they got that in VR. That would be fucking wild in VR.
VR, yeah. Anything VR, I'm gonna take a look.
Yeah. So eventually, once they're down there and they take root, they will again fly back out towards you, and they will fire projectiles, and they make life harder. And then they can accumulate from the different groups too. So if say I don't know, in a specific warp phase, I don't know, you get like maybe a half dozen, I don't know, 8 or something, however many it is, of these swarms of enemies come out. They take root if you don't kill them all, and they can stack up down in the tube. So obviously, the more there are down there, the more they can fly up, the more they can shoot. And the bigger of a problem they can pose to you. So it is in your best interest to not allow them to do that, to take root.
Yeah.
And there's, I guess this first one I wrote down, there's 3 waves of them here in the first warp phase. So once you frag all of and each one, like I said, I think we talked about earlier, there's maybe 6 or 7, 8, I don't know how many in each swarm, but there's 3 of those groups here in the first stage. And then once you frag them all, your ship, it like circles down to 6 o'clock on the circumference, and then like you kind of lose
warp
control.
Speed.
Yeah, exactly. You lose control of your ship, and then it does like a little warp blast off thing, and you fly off into the perspective to disappear. And then after that, you get the text back up. It says 2 warps to Neptune, and then you're back at it again. And and they all follow this kind of rough outline, I guess, as far as the structure of like warp 1 is always them taking root without anything at the end of the tube, and then warp 2 is there's a cluster of 4. I don't know what the hell are these things, Jay.
I don't know. They're like eye trap. I thought they were eyes, but they almost just seem like traps. Like that. I don't know what you.
Right. Yeah. Mouths, like little mouths, but they're more
almost like alien mouths are like just opening things on spaceships, like 4 pod. Like I don't know what you call it.
Right. And so there's 4 of them. So those have to be blown up. I guess you have to kill all the things too, I guess. Mm-hmm. But you also have to blow up those 4 things in the middle of the down at the end of the tube.
It was with those 4 things when I first decided to try my ultra lasonic phaser boosters, you know.
Yeah, and they are, because they do take multiple hits, and any shooter where that's how they compound difficulty for sure. When you can't just frag things one hit death, it becomes then you're talking about a dodging system to avoid whatever they're fucking peppering you with. And yeah, these things definitely do pose that threat. And the things will, instead of taking root in nothing, these things will fly down into these mouths and root inside of them. So you can't shoot them when they're in the mouth. You are just blowing the mouth up. And I guess theoretically, if you blow the mouth up, that maybe contains, if it is tracking that, I don't know. Hard to fucking keep, tabs on that. But if you blow up theoretically, if you blow up the mouth while the thing is rooted in there, it's gone. You don't have to deal with it anymore, is what I'm guessing the system is. And then they will periodically spew them back out at you as well. And you finish that phase, and there's one more before the boss, and it's much like the first, but a little busier, I would say. Like, you don't have the mouths, and there's usually just some additional shit going on.
Just more. Yeah.
Right. And when you finish the pests off, instead of flying off into the thing like you have in the previous two, a new music track rips in. It is boss battle time. The thing that fades in at the middle of the screen here reminds me very much of the Manhandla in The Legend of Zelda. That's what I thought of when I saw this. It's kind of like a flower, but it has claws at 12, 3, 6, 9 o'clock on it. And this is, of course, more machinery looking, less organic than the Zelda sprite. But as far as its behavior and kind of what you got to do to it, it's very similar, I think. It has very similar to those mouths in Phase 2 on its 12, so it has most of the bosses, I should say, have multiple phases of destroying them or beating them, so they'll come in, they'll have some sort of, usually a very busy thing that is more offensive, very kind of like what you'd expect, more offensive, and it's almost like, all I could think of when I would have those phases of them is Mike Tyson, like you come out and the first 90 seconds are just like, fucking flurry of dynamite punches, and then it kind of settles down and you got to box with it a little bit, and that's very much how I felt with these. So yeah, in this case, they periodically, in Phase 2, they periodically open up and fire a 3-pronged spread shot at you. So this is the only time that they are vulnerable to attack. So this is a perfect example of what we're talking about. So you have to get your shot in and get the fuck out of the way. Like, you have to get, like, after it opens up, you got to be in a place, because your shot only fires to the part of at the end of the perspective that you are, it's on that side of the tube. Like, your shot only hits on the side of the tube that you're at nearest POV. So, if you're trying to shoot at the 6 o'clock, you got to be at the 6 o'clock on your end of the tube. And if it's firing towards the 6 o'clock position, you obviously can't just hang out there and shoot at it. So you're doing that thing where you're trying to get a shot in and have the bullets essentially pass each other, I guess, get the fuck out of the way. And then, you're trying to take them out because, like, you could, I suppose, just keep circling and peppering, and honestly, later on, we'll get into that. I think probably I developed that as a system to deal with the later bosses a lot. But you are, at least I was inclined. You want to try to knock them out and get them out of the fucking picture. So you're trying to focus on one, which lends itself to, doing some dodging and coming back and trying to time your shit so you can get each one out of the way incrementally and then make the general tube, give yourself some safe space to work in, so you always have somewhere safe to go is a nice thing to allot yourself. And I think it took maybe 3-ish of these per arm, like hitting it with 3 of them. If you don't want an ultra lasonic phaser booster, then anyhow.
Dude, it took me multiple times to beat this first. So I think my issue in figuring out was I came in and I think I used the ultra lasonic phaser first. And like
phaser, but Jay, I'll turn this fucking car around. We'll fucking go home.
was gonna always have the.
I'll just shut this podcast down right now. I'll just shut it down, and I'll delete the fucking website, and we'll just fucking it'll be then.
I'm gonna have the manual up at all times. So I think I used my ultralasonic phaser booster initially, and it just so happened that like one of the mouths was open, so I like destroyed it, and I was like, no problem. So I just went to the next one, and I'm out of.
Oh, does that not work? Are you sure that doesn't work when it's closed?
I don't know. Either way,
You might have missed it. It is very exact. You have to hit that fucker. You have to be right on the fucking
Well,
right on the.
Either
thing.
way, I wasn't paying attention. I just went full blast, destroyed one, moved on to the next one, and just figured I could destroy them. Like, all right, this is a weak boss, and so it didn't really dawn on me at first that it had to be open. Because I destroyed the other one so quickly. And at that point, like, there were so many projectiles coming. I was like, trying to dodge out of the way. I was just kind of like, what's happening? So after I died a couple times, I was like, okay, normal video game thing. Wait for it to open. All right, we're fine,
Right. Yeah, it's so funny how being confined to that circumference is such a mind fuck.
Oh,
it's so different. It's incredible how different. I think that's the part that again. I think that's why I like Tempest. I think that's why I like this. Is that it is just so it you cannot. I think you've said those words before. How you play a shmup and you can kind of just you a little bit kind of zone out and you just you're
sometimes that's what you want. I'm just going to zone out and smash stuff. This one you're like, I can't go this way. I can't go that way. Oh my gosh!
It's way more cerebral.
Yeah.
Than any at least NES kind of shooter, you have to you cannot fucking you got to be dialed in at all times, man. And like when you're really with those later stages when you are really, it's firing shit out and like it has shit on each side of you and you like that final boss for example, like it requires like pinpoint accuracy of like stopping. You can't like I said, some of the bosses you can groove on them and just keep moving and shit. But there are some of them where you gotta fucking like really, and even some of the stages later where you gotta sit down. You gotta get in the zone and sit down. To put it in the parlance of Cole Beasley, perhaps. You gotta get in the zone and sit the fuck down, or you're gonna get fucking lit up. So yeah, it's intense, man. At times, it's really intense. I died the first time, but you pick it up. And so when you do kill it, it blows up. A pink planet appears behind it, and you fly off towards that. But before we get on with our lives, you endure a chance stage. The enemy swirls come in very similar to, maybe even exactly as they do in the regular stages, but pose no offensive threat whatsoever, and do not stick around after 2 passes. Instead of taking root, they just do 2 passes and fly the fuck back out. So when you frag a whole group or subsets of, orbs appear, and you can also shoot those for more points, and you can also get power-ups here. And, it's like so many, you're just trying to stack points, like bonus stages work. So I think we maybe should talk about bonus stages, Jay. I don't know if we've ever had like a real serious discussion about bonus stages. And Wiki defines a bonus stage as a special level within a video game designed to reward the player or players, and typically allows the player to collect extra points or power-ups. Sounds kind of spot on with what we're dealing with here. And bonus stages either have no enemies or hazards, or replace the normal penalties for being struck by enemies or hazards with simply being thrown out of the bonus stage. Many bonus stages need to be activated or discovered in some manner, or certain conditions must be satisfied to access them. Otherwise, they appear after the player has completed a certain number of regular stages. They are often much shorter than regular stages. Namco's 1980 arcade cabinet of Rally X is the earliest bonus stage instance I could hunt down in my very abridged research sesh on this topic. And Jay, I have a sizzling hot take on this topic, actually. I fucking hate bonus stages. I have always hated bonus stages, as far back as I can remember. They slow things down, they're usually mindless, and offer nothing of benefit other than points, and I fucking hate points in video games.
Oh, okay. So much to unpack here, Josh. First of all, let's start with what I agree with, okay? I feel like I need to do Stephen A right now. Like, okay, let me just tell you something right now. I completely agree. I don't care about points. Points, whatever. Like, so for me, I don't even know if this is a bonus stage. I have to do this stage. This is not like optional.
It's just some more shit to do.
Yeah, it just seems like more stuff. But I think it depends on the game. Because, like, if I don't know why this is the first game that immediately came to my mind. But in Astrobot Rescue Mission on the PS4 VR, those bonus stages, like, you have to find them within the game to unlock them. And then when you go do them, it's almost like like I enjoy them because they're either stages that are just pure fun, like look at this, like collect as many things as you can at this fun new, space, a stage with a different background that you've never seen and all that. So that's cool. Or it might be like a bonus tough stage, like, all right, you found this, can you beat this one? And it's like, oh my gosh, this one's super tough. Like, but it's like one of those two things. Either I'm rewarded and it's fun and exciting, or it's like a thing I can challenge myself with, but they're optional. This is not optional. This is just like, hey, you beat it. Now,
hey, this game already has a million stages. How about we throw in some more that don't mean anything? Yeah,
I was like, oh. So in this scenario, I completely agree. In general, I do like bonus stages depending on the game, but in this case, I did not appreciate them because I didn't really look at them as bonus, and I wasn't sure that I thought I could maybe die like by hitting those things. I was just, so it felt just as stressful. Maybe not as high octane as the boss.
They do. I mean, I was relying on them. It's funny. I didn't talk shit. Late game, I was relying on them to get hopefully a life to get me out of my safe scum hole. So they did have some benefit late game, but they still were. I conversely, the further I got in this game, the more I was like, I need to finish this game and get this fucking game out of my life. Even though it was a positive experience, it's still long enough and. There's enough levels where you don't need some extras for sure. You don't I would rather be able to get those points in the late levels and not have to do a whole level to get them. The only exception I can think of to my position of being adamantly against bonus stages in general is the Chaos Emerald stages in Sonic. And the catch with that is I don't think those qualify, though opaquely. They do serve a narrative purpose in that you cannot really beat that game the way you're supposed to without the 6 Chaos Emeralds. You know what I mean? So that is a requisite thing to truly beat the game, and therefore that maybe disqualifies them as bonus stages.
Yeah, I'm like, to me, if it's required to beat the game, it's not a bonus. Yeah. And
you can beat the game, but it's not the right ending. It's not the good ending.
Okay. Well, let me toss another one in there. The second game that immediately came to mind. One of the arguably greatest games of all time, Super Mario World. So, I don't know if you've ever played Super Mario World all the way through. I have many times. And in that game, in the Star Road, like all the Star Road stuff is special. Like you don't have to go to the Star Road. You don't have to unlock those. But when you do, it's like it's testing you because they're tougher. But they're in this special place that you had to do so much to get there, and it's almost like a status thing, like I want to do this, and they're fun at the same time. So to me, those are bonus stages. Definitely like them, but
Mario's on a different level though. I almost feel like I'm pretty sure I can't remember now. It's been too long, but Mario Odyssey I think had some bonus-ish shit. That was fucking fantastic. But again, like it's such a added. The thing is, I guess. I think that falls into the Sonic category, basically, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I think this definition and implementation of bonus stages is just this superfluous. I don't know.
Maybe filler? Maybe give you a break?
Right, yeah. It's just like it's the same shit with less threat and less purpose. It's not really, that's the thing. Like the Sonic, the fucking Chaos Emerald things in fucking Sonic 1. I don't like the ones in Sonic 2 as much with the tube. It's not as cool to me at all. But the first one, I fucking love those. Those are so fucking cool where you're doing the like pinball thing through that thing, It's so challenging and engaging, and it's so different than the regular game that it's just a completely different ball game. And Mario, again, like I can't even picture what they were, but I just know the emotional response I had to them was in the same territory, So yeah, I mean, I struggle to even think of those in the same category as what we're discussing in this context. But
okay.
Yeah, sizzling hot. I think that probably is not as most of my dumbass opinions are probably not the majority.
But I mean, this. I mean, I feel like we could open a whole new side quest, just a side episode talking about like bonus, because I think in the modern era of gaming, rather, especially when I think about open world RPG games, There's so many power babies out there that you can get.
So
You know what I mean? They're
power
almost like,
babies.
hello, if you
I
unlock this
love
quest
that
with
has
this
become
person.
common vernacular of the podcast. That's great. Power baby, get the power babies.
Right?
As any nondescript power up or,
Right?
or pickup rather.
But I mean, if you just have like side quests that are completely unnecessary that you don't need to finish a game, you know, and nowadays some of those things can just be on your map, like, oh, I can do this thing, and it's like, you know what I mean, and that is zero stakes, you know, and I would feel the same way, like, yeah, why is this here? It's just if you just want to throw extra filler stuff into the game for the player to do just to fill time, that's fine. But if it's something cool and different, then it's like, oh, if you found the special quest that's taking you to this freaking, I don't know, this magical jungle that you wouldn't have otherwise been to, then okay, yeah.
Modern games do a better
it's so
job.
different. It just depends on how they do it, you know.
Right, yeah. Modern games generally, just because they're more complex, do a better job of disguising, or not disguising, but integrating these in a more substantiated way. You know, that like it's harder to even group it. And they are the same thing, I guess, but the implementation of them is so different that it's hard to even talk about them in the same way. You know. Again, these are just it's the same thing, but shittier and not different, I guess. Anyways, after that, it's back to the solar system screen, and your little ship putters over to the next planet, Pluto in this case, and it's back on. It is worth mentioning here that I was having fun. I thought to myself, I am having fun. I'm going to write that down. So
at this point, I think I was having fun too, but I was also very confused at the flow of things. Like to your earlier point, I was like, wait, in my notes I had to double check. I was like, wait, to Pluto. Neptune. Like I was very confused. And even more so when I went to Uranus. I was like, wait a minute, what are we even doing here? Are we just flying around the solar system? Yeah.
Yeah. Aimlessly bopping around. So moving on to Pluto, each of these three phases at Pluto or heading to Pluto. I guess that's worth mentioning. Like these are, and it took me a while to figure this out exactly, that like, these are the warps going to, like, you know, I guess that is clear, but like the at the end of these things, the planet that I saw, it took me a while to grasp, like really get the system, and I don't know why, because it's very clear actually, but like you're going to Neptune, so there it is, you beat the boss, and there's the next planet, you know, but for some reason it was, there's the planet that you are, like the boss is right in front of the planet, I guess is what I'm saying. Like when you pull up to like that was what the confusing thing, because on the map, you're right there. You're at Neptune, right? So, like
what?
I don't think I need 3 warps to get there. I'm there. So, like, when you would beat the boss and then there's the planet, I thought I was flying to the next planet in that situation, but I'm actually getting to the planet that I had pulled up to at the map at the beginning of this warp sequence.
It feels like the game is in between the planets. Like, the game is in between the planets. The goal is to get there, but the game actually exists in the space in between. So,
right. Yeah.
Getting there is like, I kind of expected something when I was there, but yeah.
Right. So anyways, these 3 phases are the same but different. Enemies look a little different. The phase 2 mouths look a little wee different. The shit comes back from the tunnel perspective a bit different. And on that later note, they are protozoa-looking deals that can split as they get shot.
Yeah.
And then they retreat back as they get hit, so you can shoot them off into the distance. So it's almost like what it reminded me of is that Crossfire game from the 80s, where the 2 kids square off.
Crossfire, crossfire. You gotta win it in the firefight. Crossfire. You gotta win it in the firefight. Crossfire. You gotta win it in the firefight. Crossfire. The action's getting hotter, really heating up. But you gotta win it before you can stop. Firefight, crossfire. You gotta win it in the firefight. Crossfire. You gotta win it in the firefight. Crossfire. You gotta win it in the crossfire.
Crossfire. You gotta win it in the crossfire from Milton Bradley.
Yes.
They fired little metal balls.
Yes, they look just like those.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought of when I was doing this.
I was staring at them like, these look familiar. That's what it is. They look like
I don't
those
think the
things.
sprites look like it. It's just the act of like shooting them off and the way they
But that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it reminds me of. Now that you say that. Oh, I hate those things, man.
Yeah.
Those are one of, hands down, the most annoying things in this game. Because I couldn't tell at first. I'm like, are they just existing because I missed one of those things and
there's
went on there and came back?
Yeah, I would be like, am I creating those? Are they like, is that happening? Yeah, there's just no way it's a shooter. So shit's just flying around, man. Don't ask questions, just kill it. That's the answer to that. But it's hard not to, try to analyze and be analytical when you're fucking playing the game, especially for this purpose, for a fucking podcast. You try to like get to the bottom of shit, and it's like, no, there is no bottom, dude. Just shoot things.
Kill stuff, don't die. Let's go.
Exactly. But otherwise, a lot of the same shit here. It's just a little harder, and it is still fun hard, in my opinion, though. What was your take on the difficulty ramp up from Neptune to Pluto?
I thought, it was still good, especially at the beginning. I'm like, so far so good. I'm still killing things. I feel like I've got the hang of it. Like I'm jamming on it, but I'm understanding. I'm not at the point yet where I'm getting hit, so I still have the two shots that I'm firing each time. So I'm feeling good at this point. Still feeling good. Like I'm taking everything out. Like okay,
that's good. I don't think I have that written down. That's worth mentioning. That's what a power up. That's what a power up tree in a shooter is supposed to feel like. When you die, it's a bummer. Losing that power up base gun is no question a fucking bummer. So yeah, that's worth mentioning. That's a good point to point out.
But I was bummed though because I kept shooting the power ups and stuff as they come. That there's not more of a progression.
It does not. Yeah, I agree. It's very simple. It's like
that's for me. Yeah, when it comes to a flying shooter, I like to progress and have like much more powerful weapons. And at this point, it was like, oh, if I get hit, I'm screwed.
What do you think? That's a good question, actually. Like, yes, there's the discernible difference when it goes from 1 to 2. But like, I think that there were power-ups within those as well. Like, I want to say there were 2 levels of each. I definitely felt like after I went to 2 bullets, I could get stronger a little bit, even though it didn't change the visible.
I wasn't sure. Like I wasn't sure. I was interested in your thoughts on that because I thought that at first because of the first time that I actually died, and I was like, wait a minute, it felt so different to go from 2 down to 1 that when I got back up to 2, I was like, am I just not jamming on the button as fast? Yeah. So I wasn't sure though, like if that was verified or not. If you really could power up.
No way to verify it, Jay. But I kind of felt like all this shit's a little psychosomatic.
It just felt different. That's all
I just want it to be better. So it is.
I just knew I'm not spraying out 3 at a time. I'm not doing any different. There's no new sprites, so to me it was just like, oh, come on, man. If you're gonna give me 39 levels or whatever to go through, at least give me something else here to feel more more OP, even if I'm not.
Right. I'll concede that it is deficient in that regard as well. I'll concede that. So the boss battle is against a mini planet with a snake-looking thing that trails out behind it and eventually detaches to act independent of the planet, and it's very. In hindsight, having played the whole game, like this one is so different than everything else. Like it's funny. Like I posted the boss screenshots as I went through the game, and that seemed to be the one that like triggered people the most. This boss was the one that people seemed to respond to the most and say it was like one of the more, even though it's only level 2, one of the more difficult ones in the game. So the planet remains on the periphery of the circumference of the play area. And it's acting as an obstruction to avoid as you try to dodge the snake that is, again, acting independently. And the snake part acts very erratically and fires projectiles. So the goal here is to shoot the snake, and each link in it needs to be shot, which turns that link pink. And then the difficulty with this is that the jumbled movement pattern of it, which is very like on top of itself as a snake should be, once they're pink, they're invulnerable or dead or whatever, so they're just dead weight that are in the way of the green ones that you still need to shoot. So yeah, you kind of have to keep putting yourself in harm's way of both the projectiles and the mass itself kamikazing at you to shoot them all. And it is in a lot of ways maybe the most difficult of the end boss is no question more difficult, but as far as the stage bosses go, I mean it's certainly up there. I mean it's top 3. There's no argument.
This was the most difficult one for me. Like right. It took me a while because I'm trying to shoot the freaking planet first. Obviously, I'm shooting the planet and I'm like I can't. And then even when I decided to shoot the balls or whatever they are, the bubbles, it felt like it was in the way first. But then when I was shooting it and it wasn't dying, I'm like, what is going on here? You know, like I thought
it does give you, and this we've talked shit about this before. It gives you the tink 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 to let you know that you're not hitting anything on purpose.
See.
Yeah,
that was also part of the problem. I was not playing with because the kids were running around me. Like I couldn't.
That's insane. The music for this game is so good. You got to play with sound.
What am I gonna do? It's kind of like, you know, the kids are so loud. But yeah, that's also part of the problem. So I'm looking at this without sound and thinking, what is happening? But then when I started noticing the colors changing, and I was like, wait a minute. At that point, it was like the combination of the colors are changing on the things I did shoot, and the planet is basically avoiding me. Like I'm at the top of the screen. I can't even get to the planet. So clearly, let me just change this whole thing a different color. Yeah. But it took me several times to figure that out.
Yeah, I think it took me a handful as well.
I did not enjoy it. It's just weird because I don't know what I'm doing. Like if Genghis Khan is trying to come at me, that's one thing. I don't know how you narratively explain what's happening here, and not that I was trying to at the time, but that just added to the confusion.
Aliens. Aliens.
Just aliens? That's not an alien. It's just like bubbles flying at me. Like, is this Contra? Are we Contraing? It's Konami. So I guess this is just Contra time.
There's a whole universe out there of biological flowcharts of organisms. Don't impose your Earth-based belief system.
How's that what I'm doing?
The full universe. Like that's
right. What am I doing?
That's ridiculous.
I'm a speciesist.
Yeah. And you could have easily, if you wanted to, if this was so difficult, Jay, you could have busted out your ultra lasonic phaser boosters.
That is true.
If you need them.
That's true.
And yeah, I was still definitely being ultra conservative. I was not using them yet. I was still being a hoarder, as I often am with my digital possessions.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I wasn't sure when I would get more. Like, because even on the chance stages, I'm
that's always it. Yeah, exactly. I don't know the economy yet, so I'm just going to hoard.
I just know I got to press this button. I got to press B as fast as I can, so I'm going to just keep doing that.
Yeah. The chance stage after the boss here works in a completely different movement pattern than we've seen for the enemies, but otherwise not terribly different than the first. That first one it's the same as they were in the stage, but here they start to do crazy shit, and then as each one of these comes up for each subsequent stage, the flight patterns get insane, and trying to, because it's obviously like that fucking issue, that random rag we just did, like. The goal, the best way to deal with this is no question, just hit them right when they're coming on screen, and you can just keep shooting in the same spot. But the developers knew that and made efforts to change your ability to exploit that as the game progresses, for sure. Both in the chance stages and in the regular stages.
Yeah, but that's exactly why it doesn't feel like it's a chance. Like it feels like it's like a real stage, especially on this one, because all of a sudden, to me, this feels like the first time where they're just like crazy. They come out like in jarring 45-degree angles, and they're just you're like, whoa. It's called a chance stage or whatever, but I still don't know at this point that I can't get hit. I feel like I'm just going to lose my second bullet, so I'm like kind of gun shy. I don't care about the points, so I'm like, do I even go in? Like it was one of those situations.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't want to say I disregarded, but I definitely very quickly settled on focusing on easily, of course, the pickups, but also the point orbs more so than the enemies. Like, try to get the enemies if you can, but I always prioritized the other things that would appear, because even though I think shooting the other things might cue those to some degree, I still would always focus on those. I felt one, they were more obtainable, and two, they had more potential for benefit. So we move from there to Uranus, and here we have new sprites, including some shrimp-looking deals that made me think of Contra, but a lot of the same shit here otherwise. And I did really start to notice you could not hang in one place. I just mentioned, the idea of just hanging in one place, even if you were able to zero in on what that entry point was and try to do that, they would implement other ways to make that a dangerous place to be.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Move.
Right, exactly. So yeah, they ramping the difficulty up substantially in that regard here. I noticed it for sure, and by the end of this baby, I was really feeling good and humming along in a shmup groove, though. I would say this was where I really started to fucking. I got it, like that, and I guess what I'm really explaining here or trying to describe here is like, I don't know, man. Like we talked about that, like you just zoning out, kind of like that fucking. I don't know. You get it now. You see the Matrix, and like you understand what can be imposed on you. Really understand what your movement patterns are. What are the little, I don't know, patterned medulla oblongata things you got to do to survive. By this point, I was really starting to fucking get into or identify those and be able to like use them from instinct, I guess, as opposed to actually having to read and react to some degree. And that's where you want to be for these fucking games for sure. The boss battle is pretty much the same thing as the very first level one, but with some slowly advancing projectile sprites that try to muddy up the movement field. And this was something that, this was a layer that was used a lot. Is because you were confined to that circumference of the playfield, they would do things that would muddy up that track as much as they could. Like when they were trying to make things harder, that was a very, very oft used method to impose difficulty, was to just give you shit to avoid.
For sure.
More so than like, I guess, direct danger. And I guess that's the difference is there you could have kind of indirect danger and then direct danger, and this was the first time you started to see the indirect form of it, and that is interesting. I didn't fuck around. Yeah, I dropped. This is where I was like, I get the economy now, and this is fucking hard. I dropped 4 ultra lasonic phaser shots, 1 on each of the 4 sensors, and got right the fuck on with my slower systemic journey to the sun. This is how I know this fucker.
And this is where I died a lot. This is where I started dying. This is where stage 11, like right before the boss, is where I died a bunch, just because stuff. Yeah, there were more things going on, and it just, with my Control A and my and my slamming down on the buttons continuously.
The sword just lit up for the first time. That hasn't happened yet.
I know. I was like, oh, that's nice. I think there's like a glitch with it, like the lights kind of Caddywompus. But
what does Caddywompus mean? I've never
heard
it in my life.
That's a great word, dude.
That is a great word, but I've never heard it before. What the fuck does it mean?
It just means like stuff is askew. It's not right. It's all off kilter. It's just fun to say Caddywompus.
Caddywompus, yeah.
I don't know if that's the correct term to use at this time, but there's your word of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Right. But yeah, this honestly here in the boss, I definitely use those. Ultra lasonic phaser boosters, 100%. But I died a ton, and this is where I started feeling. This is where I really started feeling like if I cared enough, would start this whole game over with the advantage.
I'm surprised you didn't, because it's not like, because I would often barrel through these, right? As far as like the way up my flowchart of playing this game, I would barrel through these stages and just like on an acclimation run, basically at the top of a new planet. Try to get to the boss, and once I was there, get my screenshot of them for this fucking podcast, and then try to beat it. Maybe not, though, whatever. Not really concerned whether I do or not, because I know I'm restarting. I'm safe scumming anyways. I'm going back to the beginning and going through this with knowledge, so I'm not getting those random bullshit deaths and, trying to retain my lives, because I know that could become a problem with the save scumming system. So, that was
I do that often. I do that as well.
But my point my point was that it's quick. If it's very quick to fly through this shit if you know what you're doing. And I mean, it's still, not easy, and you're still going to die even going back to a stage, after having, like, in your perception, semi-mastered it. But getting through the first 3 levels, I would have just been, if I felt like I was doing if I had taken the wrong path on that important fork, at this stage, I 1,000% would have just started over.
Well, the problem, and I normally would too, the problem was you and I had very different playthroughs since you were doing the right way. And so after going through the first 3, which was super easy, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this is smooth. Like, it felt like it proportionally started getting harder after that. So that when I got to this, and after going through, 12, 19 stages, however many it was. It was kind of like, man, I have jammed my thumbs are so tired. I've gone through so much. Like the thought of going back and doing it again, even if it will be easier the second time, I was just like, I don't want to go back. It was just
Feel that
forward ho.
Different emotional place. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But this is exactly where it was, where I was just like, I bet he's having a great time. I bet he's having a great time.
I was having a blast. So, yeah, I mean, I was busy as fuck, so, like, I didn't, fucking find time to sit down and do this. But every time I sat down and really had a session with it, I mean, you still get tired, and I'm like, I need to take a break. I always feel this way, but like, how the fuck, I mean, you're kids, that's what they are. But like, how the fuck did any kid sit down and just play all 40 levels of this? And how could you do it? How psychotic is it to sit down and play 40 levels of this fucking game?
Oh my gosh.
And like really enjoy it and not want to go do some other shit. I just can't imagine. The world's a different place. Kids are a different thing. Like there's so many variables in there that I understand that I am not satisfying or do not equate to. But holy fuck, I just can't imagine sitting down and playing 40 levels of this in a row.
I'm telling you, man, this is another classic example of this is the game you have. Like,
yeah,
enjoy it. You know,
yeah.
You find a way to enjoy it type of thing.
Yeah. So yes, here at Saturn, the flight patterns are on the way to Saturn. Important to keep in mind. The flight patterns are a little different here, but otherwise it is just more of the same. And the boss battle is reminiscent of the stage 1 and 3 bosses, but now we have 6 sensors to frag this time. And they can spit out an indestructible orb that will block your shots. So you can, just zero in on one, but you have to keep moving to not attract those. So again, it's just one of those things. And that's a passive or indirect danger it's posing, but it also prevents you from being able to attack the thing. So you got to get your shot in around, either like just slightly off the axis, so you're around it, or timed in a way where you're getting the shot in without that thing moving in the direction of you. So yeah, it's same but different. And I dusted it off first try. This one was not. This was one of the easier ones for me.
Yeah, this wasn't bad. I had more trouble trying to confirm whether or not the power-ups that have the little things next to them, whether those things were good or not. Like I would shoot them and I'm like,
yeah.
Do I grab them? Do I touch
we haven't
it?
talked about. Yeah, we haven't mentioned that specifically. I guess that's worth pointing out. So yeah, like just randomly as power-ups go and fucking these things, they will. I think even from the very beginning, they're always that way. But they appear. Yeah. I would say maybe halfway between the end of the tube and your play area or your part of the tube. And they would appear halfway between those 2 points, and it would look like a crosshair kind of thing.
Yeah, almost like a flower kind of sprite-ish.
And then on each side of it, it would have, these like orange. They remind me of like a gack. Remember gack?
Yeah, or like a flower petal, like a splat. Like
a splat. Yeah, but gack is that. I think it was Nickelodeon brand or something. It was just goo, that you could like fuck with. But the logo for it looked just like this. Actually, the Nickelodeon logo in general, I think, looks just like this. It's the Nickelodeon logo, right? It's orange, an orange splat, right? Yeah, That's why I'm thinking Nickelodeon. They're probably not Nickelodeon brand. I'm trying to say Nickelodeon and just talking about some random ass toy instead. But those also, and I don't know when they begin, I don't recall, but eventually those start to appear in 3s without the power up too. That's just like a different thing. And yeah, that would be one of the things that would, because they shoot things too.
That's when I really realized that they were actually not that they were not good. Before I was just like, I'm not going to touch them because I died once before. But yeah.
So yeah, they're just a thing that get imposed later on in general without the power up too. So off to Jupiter, and this one you get crazy ass flight patterns. They added in these leaf-looking joints also that would just another kind of like indirect danger. They would just float out towards you in foursomes. So just some shit that, and for some reason, leaves being indestructible made me think of Mega Man. Like the leaf shield in Mega Man is what I thought of.
I give them props for the variability.
That's the same tink sound too. That's the same tink sound when you shoot.
Oh yeah.
Woodman.
That's a classic sound. Sound.
Yep. But yeah, otherwise it's just Gyruss. And the boss battle here, this was a fucking cool. I love this boss. This boss was really fucking cool. It's phase 1 is just a ball that would spit out those leaf hazards randomly, and you had to shoot what I'd call a protective husk off the brain-like mass inside or beneath it, right? So that's phase 1. And there are 4 parts of that shell, and they're relatively easy to do, and the leaves pose minimal danger because they're kind of slower. So you're just avoiding those and then shooting the fucking thing off. And then once that, it like shatters and goes in every direction, phase 2 starts, and 2 tentacles emerge on opposite sides of it that swing like randomly as fuck around it.
It's like, here we go again.
Say again?
So it's like, here we go again.
Yeah. And yeah, it's slow enough in this form that you can outrun the thing pretty easily, but to land blows on the brain in the middle, you have to reverse direction and catch the tentacles slipping. Because like the tentacles always kind of exist out in the periphery, so, and they're on both sides essentially, obviously, of the brain that you in the middle that you need to get in between. So this is a perfect example of when I'm like sitting in the zone, you know. You need to fucking get in there, get your shot in, and then often because the way the arms worked, the opening they gave you to get the fuck out would require you could not do the spin in the same direction. You would have to reverse and go back out the way you came in, or you would get splattered by the fucking arms. So this was a really cool, again, kind of just like you gotta get in the groove and like feel it. You gotta feel it. You can't read and react. You gotta feel it. You gotta feel the beat to it. To fucking.
I feel like that's an accurate way to describe this game. You just gotta feel your way through it. Just
yeah. I definitely had some fucking trouble with it, and I think I kind of lucked into beating it. You know, even with that understanding, like it, you know, it took me a number of tries, and like, you know, when I beat it, I was definitely like I happened like like I said, like you couldn't normally do the spin thing, you know, if you were not doing it in but like I happened to luck into, I was doing one. And its pursuit of me was timed in a way that it was perfectly moving at my speed. So I could keep flying at full bore around the circumference and be landing shots on it, but still be out of the reach of the tentacles at all times. So it was literally, I got like stuck. It got stuck in a death loop. As opposed to you getting stuck in a death loop. And yeah, that's how I lucked into beating it. Because like, yeah, until I had that happen, I was, even with the knowledge of having to get back, because that's hard as fuck the time, even with that knowledge, I was definitely struggling with it. So it was difficult, and I kind of lucked into it, but it was no question the most fun boss that I'd hit to date, even with the difficulty.
Dude, it was Contra-ish. And like, this is also where I noticed, it really sucks to be on a boss when you only have the one pellet. Oh
yeah.
Because I got hit by the tentacles, and it's like, oh, fucking hate. You know what I mean? Like, so not fun. I'm gonna say I probably had half as much fun as you, if I could guesstimate fun quotients. Yeah. Probably
overall game or this boss?
No, on this boss specifically, because it looks cool, and especially like at the beginning, it's like, all right, I'm taking it out, you know, that's cool. But then as soon as the tentacles come out and get hit, it's like, oh, am I safe scumming, or am I just gonna power through this with this one pellet? I'm gonna keep saying it over and over because I'm raging that I can't hold down B and like have some rapid fire in this game. Dad got it.
Well, Jay, the correct answer to that quandary of yours is yes. You should save scum. After these messages,
we'll be right back.
Space games. And there are space games. Now, there's Gyruss, hot from the arcade. Nothing moves like Gyruss. In planet-by-planet galactic warfare, you're attacked by enemy ships, satellites, and meteors in a relentless search for Earth. Then more enemy ships, more satellites, more meteors. Now you can buy... Or you can buy Gyruss.
That is a 1984 U.S. market commercial for at least the Commodore 64 port of Gyruss. It specifies that the footage shown is from that system via subtitle, but I imagine it was a bunch on a bunch of those home gaming PCs of the era, and it was most def on the 2600 for sure.
Dude, I was confused at what cartridge, the way they pushed it in. I was like, all right, clearly this is not the NES.
It looks like the Parker Brother cartridges for the 2600, like Frogger.
Oh, yeah.
And Hubert, is the design. And yeah, it looked like a 2600 to me there, but it says the Commodore 64 graphics. But like I said, it was probably for all those fucking systems of the era. It was. I think they did a great job of like, I don't know, conveying that tube thing with this guy spinning in his chair. Like they did a good job of conveying that, I don't know, vibe of the game.
I'm annoyed at it, but they're clearly marketing it like, hey, this is what the game is all about. So I feel, it gives me a different sense, a little more respect for the way that they're at least marketed it. So if I was picking it up at the time, I'm going to be aware of what I'm getting into.
I know what you're getting into for sure. So now we are on to Mars, and I'm not sure what else to say about these levels prior to the bosses. The enemies cruise in, you try to frag them, they nest and fly back out. If you don't,
yeah. My notes kind of stop after this, just like boss stuff.
Right. Yeah, I mean, occasionally you encounter like a slightly different sprite that has a little bit of a different movement or danger mechanic to it, but it's for the most part, same but different.
At least they do change them up so that it doesn't feel like you look like the exact from stage to stage. Even if there's repeats, it doesn't feel like, oh, this is the stage I just came from. So I do appreciate.
Yeah, everything has different sprites. They're slightly, like I said, they're maybe not vastly different, but each one has its own unique sprite set for sure. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
That's good. The boss for Mars has 8 target nodes, 2 different types of alternating firepower coming from them. You have blue balls that you can blow up if you line up on them, so you can kind of figure like trying to. That's how you have to. Whereas I don't know if it was 1 or 2 bosses back, but you had to avoid them because they were indestructible. Now you need to shoot them to be able to land shots on the node that you're trying to kill. So just like slight variations, changing up your expectations. I think it's as good as you can do for a flying shmup, especially one of this length where the repetition could become just overwhelming. So I think they did a damn good job of just keeping it fresh as much as you can within a shmup, which that's kind of my bitch about shmups is like they can only be so fresh or can only stay so fresh. So
yeah, the ball sprite is different. It's a different, even if it's functionally kind of the same, they switch it up. So it's like, oh, this is something new. So I appreciate that.
Yep. And then the other attack is the small fireballs and a 3-pack spread shot that you just have to avoid. And the blue balls will fire out around the circumference, and that's another reason to shoot them as opposed to just avoiding them, is because once they float out to the edge of the play area, they will split in like 2 and fire out 90 degrees in each direction. So essentially, if you are in that 180 degree stretch of the circumference, you will get fragged. Mm-hmm. So it's in your best interest to make sure they die before they get out there. And
this game's a workout. This part is a workout.
Yep,
for sure.
I concur. Yeah, you gotta. This is another situation where you gotta drop some ultralasonic phaser boosters on 3 of these
immediately.
Yeah, to give yourself some breathing room on at least 25% of the circle.
Exactly. It's got to be like in a row, so you're like, all right, I gotta get some space from their split. Yeah, as much as you can.
Yep. Yeah, so that was the deal with that one. And then you're moving on to Earth, Mother Earth, and they start giving you destroy everything on screen power-ups here to deal with these semi-indestructible versions that come back of the ship. So like in this version, they will go down, take root, and then fly back out, but be indestructible, and you cannot shoot them. So you have to find these things basically that allow you to blow up everything. Kind of smart bomb made me think of Gunsmoke. Where you get the smart bombs and just kill everything on screen. And the boss battle is one of the cooler so far. You have 3. This is like one of the ones kind of like that stage 2 one. They were just, there's through lines with that with most of the bosses and other bosses. This was a total standalone, different one that I thought was very cool. It's 3 fighter planes come cruising out at you from the distance of the tube there. A yellow one, a pink one, and a blue one. And each one has a different flight, speed, and attack style. So if I recall correctly, I went yellow, pink, and blue. And like the yellow one is kind of like this slow moving deal that you can stay on top of and kill pretty quickly. And then the pink one was faster, I think, but kind of the same movement pattern. And the blue one was, I think it did something fucking weird. It was like a back and forth deal, and its shot was different, I think. So it was pretty, it was a tricky boss for sure, but like because of its being so different was very engaging, I thought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like you were actually having like an actual space battle this time instead of like
yeah.
attacking a machine. You know, like they were coming at you. Like it's fun because they come at you first and then kind of split. So it was kind of just like, oh shit, like what am I, you know?
right. Yeah, they
try to get your bearings.
They stop and operate in that half way up the tube space. That's worth saying. That they fly up and then take root there, and then I mean, and that's worth saying. Like, there's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of shit that happens, I guess, on that part of the play area, but like, they're close enough where, like, a lot of the bigger enemies, the boss battles operate from like the middle, like off, so you have more distance between the two of you. So this one, they're closer up and more dangerous because of that, So pretty cool. And then you are onto Venus. They try to murk up your movement track with mines that come to rest in a large percentage of the circle in these stages, which definitely makes the playfield messy as fuck. And the third stage is a goddamn beast, I would say, of this, but otherwise, just Gyruss. And
More
the
Gyruss.
boss battle is just like Earth. It's an 8-node deal, but harder. Or not Earth, Mars, rather. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you have anything to say about any of that?
I mean, only at this point, I was seriously just like, I'm over this game. Like, it was just exhausting at this point. Like, I appreciate the variability. Again, I'm going to keep saying it, and how the bosses are changing, and how even the stuff is flying out at you. So it's like, oh, are these landmines? Like, there's just different stuff going on.
But I want to be done, yeah.
But I want to be done. I'm like, yeah, I if it wasn't so, we're in the 30 stage now. If we weren't this far into it, it'd be a completely I'm done or I'm restarting with the advantage. Like, because I'm gonna reserve judgment. I wanted to just dive in, like, my feelings about this game and how I'm telling you about this game, but we'll save it for the blessing.
Okay,
we'll save it for the blessing.
Fair. Well, from there we are on to Mercury, the innermost planet, and this is more Gyruss. The boss battle was cool as fuck, though. It was another brain one, and I really like this one as well. So they really fucking dialed up the effort on these two brain bosses, I feel. This one is surrounded by a shield encasement as well, with maybe 8-ish little nodes that also expel indestructible balls of purple fire at you, and then boomerang. Or no, sorry, they expel these balls that fire out you and boomerang back to the node, right? So they like fire out to the circumference and then come back. So there's always this indestructible thing in the way of each one of the nodes. So what you really have to do here is lure them off, then sidestep and shoot the node behind it, right? Which I lucked into quickly noticing here that the continuous spin trick allows you to cheese these really fucking easily, this phase of them. So if you just spin constantly around the circumference either direction, your shots will always be landing while the balls are far enough out that you get beneath the thing in the way, So if I did learn that you have to, like, it's not a continuous one. You have to like put a little intermittent stutter to it instead of fully leaning on the joystick. It did a better job, but it was still pretty, it was a very mindless way to deal with it.
So I'm all about honesty on this podcast, Josh. And, I love to beat games the way they should be beat. And, not to use a cheat code unless I need to use a cheat code, unless it's like the Konami code, which I feel like is everybody used it. It's not even cheating at this point. They want you to. This is where I looked up online, like, just this part, because I was like, I'm done playing this game. Like, I can't, my thumbs are breaking, and I saw the spin thing, and I saw somebody else doing it. I was like, oh,
so that was the recommended thing.
Yeah, I was just like, so I'm gonna do that too. Yeah,
and I am such a video game fucking stud. That is, I'm able to just find these things organically. Woo,
nice.
The encasement shatters once you shoot all the nodes and then flies out. So it like shatters. So you have to like avoid it. You know what I mean? Which is kind of cool that it doesn't just disappear. And then another attack phase starts with these lightning bolt projectiles that are also, I'd say, pretty easily avoided with the spin while you dump on it. So yeah, this one was very spin minded as far as how you sort. And from there, the game is not over, which I thought it might be. And I was, yes, when the words 3 warps to the sun came on the screen after beating that boss, I was sad. It made me sad that I had 3 more to go and that I hadn't just beat the game. So
You're like, woo! Oh, what the?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Definitely did that. So the first 2 levels are tough titty, as one might guess. And the third stage is, there are no enemies. It is just a fireball tunnel, you know? And holy shit, dude. This is like, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where like, yeah, I'm save scummy, man. And it still took me 1 billion tries. And I'm sure there is something that I didn't need to figure out as far as reliable ways to navigate this because I was save scumming, and the OG player in 1989 has to figure out something that I did not to be able to do this. But it nonetheless, much like Dracula, I'm just like, how did anyone ever beat this without save states? Like, holy shit, they are fast and furious coming at you, man. And I mean, I felt like I got in grooves, man. Like I got like how long I could spin and when I had to backtrack. Like I was in a fucking rhythmic thing with it, and you still just get caught slipping sometimes, man. And and especially again, this is where, you know, we talked. It's been a while since we talked about it, but using that B control set, like this is where you had to fucking really be fucking on your P's and Q's to remember that even though I want to go left here, but I got to hit right because I'm on the top of the tube, you know, like this was a time when that really jumped out as fuck. This is hard to internalize.
Dude, this is where save scumming went insane, and I almost went through all my lives. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just at this point, like, what are we even doing right now? Like, and that's why I will also give props to the makers of this game, because although there are definitely things I did not enjoy, like, things escalated. Like they escalated as they should have escalated.
Right? Yeah, I agree. And I think it is an incredibly cool design choice, narratively substantiated design choice, to have this tunnel of fireballs as you approach the sun. Like,
right?
Total sense, you know.
Like, how are you going to come up to the sun and not get burned? Here you go.
Right? Yeah, you're going to deal with some fucking fire. Yeah, no, it makes total sense, and I thought it was very well implemented, and like it was so different than any of the other, you know, like it. I could not have been more surprised, I guess, that I hit this, because you know we talked about it, like this repetition of like these, all 3 of the warp phases of each thing have such striking similarities, you know, to enter this third one and have it be a completely different ball game was very surprising to me. And it's, you know, after you play a game like this with such repetitious aspects to it, to be surprised by anything this late in the game is, I think, a compliment warranting thing as well, you know. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then if you can survive that somehow or another, you get to the final boss battle, and this shit is lit for sure. This is a final boss battle. Like, you will not hear me say a word about my fucking canned bullshit about I need to feel like it challenges me. I need to feel like I'm conquering the tallest mountain. Like, all that is here and in spades, you know. So yes, this boss battle it's an eye that sits center mass, and it has 2 phases to it. But as opposed to these 2 kind of permanent phases that you work through, it recycles the 2 phases over and over and over and over again. The phase 1 is an onslaught of purple. Those are the purple fire attacks that I was spouting from memory about the previous stage, the previous boss. But it starts with an onslaught of purple fire attacks that kind of like the spin move can mostly deal with, I would say. So not terribly difficult part of it. It's just kind of a, you know, just an avoidance thing. It stays closed and you can't attack it when it's closed. So there's nothing to do but just stay alive for this part of it. And then phase 2 has 2 parts inside of it. So with the eye closed and still invulnerable, of course, it slowly expels these projectiles that float out in every direction. So we have the indirect danger, you know, and these float out in every direction. And you can blow these up. They're not indestructible. So your goal here is to blow as many of the fuck up as possible. And yes, kind of like we talked about that one boss, create at least a 25% safe zone to operate in for the next phase, because the next phase is the eye opening that makes it invulnerable, or makes it vulnerable rather. But while it does this, it fires 1 to 5, except for the very first time, that's so cool too, that it like gives you a chance on that first eye-opening instance to shoot it and understand that that's when you need to be attacking. You know, like it doesn't attack back for that first one. So I think that's a very cool little fucking whatever, little bone. I don't know, little, what do you call that? A fucking an olive branch. It's a little olive branch.
They threw you a little bone there.
Yeah, a bone. There you go. Yeah, spit it out, motherfucker. So yeah, I think that's a nice little bone they throw you. And then each one after that, it fires 1 to 5 laser beams. So you don't know how many it's going to be. They come at you fast as fuck, and you're trying to avoid these fucking things while all that shit is busied up the playfield around you. So you cannot just willy-nilly go flying away from it. You have to make these very small, calculated movements, you know, within the safe zone that you've created for yourself, and still be able to both attack it, get offensive things in, and avoid those quick-moving laser shots that shoots at you, and you don't know how many there's going to be. So you can be dodging nothing. You know, you can be. It's very, also, you know, another comparison to Tyson. You can be dodging nothing. You know, because
those lasers are miserable. Like, miserable. Like I thought I was kind of rolling. Like, okay, I got the eyes, and those lasers are just coming up, and you're just like, all right, what's the pattern? It's still getting fucked up every time. Every time, dude.
It's fucking hard, man. It is fucking hard, man. And yeah, you know, I want to say I went into it with, you know, 3 or 4 of the ultralasonic phaser boosters to dump on it, and those I'm sure helped. But even with those, I mean, I don't know, man, 7, 8, 9 of these I had to get through to beat it. You know, it's fucking not easy, man. Not easy. And yeah, if you go in here with like, I'm sure I can't even remember, but I'm sure I didn't let myself get in here without being powered up. And you know, I would have it would have been like Batman. I'd have went back a whole.
Yeah, it'd be impossible. You can't.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned too. I don't think I have ever, in any of our games, dude, I don't think I have ever maxed out all 10 of the save state slots on a video game. I got to 0 here. I was on 0.
Really?
Yeah. So I was so tenuous about about save stating myself. Like I said, I was down to 0 lives. I had no backup lives. So like I was so tenuous about backing myself into a corner I could not get out of that. I was fucking into the and you know, I probably had 3 max through Earth, and I fucking used the 6 or 7 remaining getting from Venus to the end of the game, you know, because the end of the game is just no bullshit, man. They fucking, yeah, it's intense.
Dude, all the save states, like this game, like it for me, it was more like, it was like kill something, pause, save, kill something, pause, save. You know what I mean? Because I could just a little longer, a little further in the battle. You know, it was just
yeah.
I haven't done that since we played. Like, what game was it? Was it Mike? No, because Mike Tyson was more kind of had to stay in the moment. But it's been a while since I had a game where I was like every couple seconds, pause, save, pause, save, just like
I was
feeling like a complete
stage,
loser.
Yeah. The fire stage, I was definitely doing that shit. I don't know. I mean, I probably had 4-ish save states getting through that fire stage, you know. So yeah, I mean, yeah, the end of the game is no. But that's what I mean, dude. I just don't. I really don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how human beings. I don't know. It's crazy, kids. Civilization has no question, from a biological perspective, peaked, and we are on the decline now, because I don't think any child. In fact, I want to run an experiment. Sit all 10 of your kids down and have them play this video game.
Are you kidding me?
Open them on the save state of that fire stage and significantly incentivize them. I don't know, however many gummy bears or whatever you got to do to get them to fucking buy into this process, to this experiment. I want to know how long it takes them to do this.
I love my kids. if I were to sit them down and say, if you get to a certain stage of this game,
no, I would drop them in. I want to drop them in on that
Oh
fire
my
level
gosh.
and just see what happens.
they would not play. They would.
You gotta. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm like,
What's the
what
max
could I
level
even tell
incentivization?
them?
Disneyland. I don't know. What's the max level incentivization?
Now I'm curious because I'm just like, I feel like this could honestly go either of two ways. I feel like it could just be immediate, like,
Fuck off.
after a couple tries, nope, I guess I'm just not getting that. But I also feel like this could completely go the opposite direction, and like my son, for example, will just super focus, and he just like is not putting it down, and then he'll end up doing it, and I'll just be like blown away. So I don't know. I don't know.
Do some Matrix shit on you, pull some Neo shit on you.
Yeah, like it could go either way here. I feel like the former, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, that would be a really fun YouTube live event. We could maybe do as a fundraiser or something. So yeah, if you survive that laser zapping aspect of it, the eye projectiles float off the screen entirely, and then you repeat that phase 2 cycle, those 2 phases of the phase 2 cycle over and over again until you kill it. And yeah, I want to say it took me maybe 7-8 of those, and that's like hammering the eye each time, and I definitely save scummed the last few for sure. So yeah, it's no bullshit at all. I was tired in general, and 40 levels was a fucking lot of this game, even if I was enjoying myself. So by the end, no question, I was just like, let me out of this fucking thing, Let me out of this loop, this fucking loop.
The universe
this tunnel.
is a piece.
Let me out of this tunnel.
Let me. I'm done. I'm going home.
Yeah. So it blows up, and you get the explosions all over the screen, as you should for blowing up the big boss battle. And from there you fly. The sun appears just like all the planets did, and you fly into it. And then it cuts to a single screen cinematic of your ship, kind of very much like Victory coasting out of the sun. It's going very slow. It's in no particular hurry. And towards the POV of the player, and it comes like it swoops down to the right and then flies down to the bottom left, and then it freezes before it gets off screen. And there's, of course, a victory ditty playing while this occurs. And then the text, "The universe is at peace," appears up top. And then it, like, that holds for, I don't know, a reasonable amount of time for you to bask in it. And then it cuts back to the map and fires you right into another playthrough. And, fuck, man, that doesn't need to be said. Holy shit, what kind of psychopath. But whatever, that's how games worked. Nothing new there. And yeah, man, it's not the worst. It's not the littest, but it is an all right ending. I did read that the Famicom version had a full end sequence with credits. So the peasant American kids got the shaft here, unfortunately. But yeah, it's not like they, I don't know, didn't just cut to congratulations and move on. They did
Right.
put a little effort into it. And like we said, more than the arcade game gave you,
A lot more, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So, I guess, I don't know. Do you have anything to add about that final boss or the end sequence?
No, I mean, it was short. It was kind of... I felt it was also fitting the way that everything else had been in the game, where we'll give you a few minutes to bask in it, and you're like, oh, finally, freaking done. Like, it feels accomplished. You feel accomplished.
Yeah, yes.
At the same time, it's like, all right, yep, not starting back over.
Yeah,
done.
arcade.
Yeah.
It walks it toes the line between arcade game, which would just literally no effort fire you back into it, and like gives you a little moment to be like, okay, that was a good job.
Yeah. That is the ending theme, bringing us in appropriately to the verdict. Josh, I don't know who went first last time.
I don't know either. It's been way too long.
But go, yeah. Give us your thoughts. Kick it off for us.
There's a little bit of slowdown shit when things get really messy, but Life Force does that too, and it's also great. So that's that's a criticism I'd say maybe someone impose on this, but I think that's kind of just the way Nintendo worked on any busy game, so I don't want to criticize it for that. It's long. Too long, probably. But that was a conscious choice. That was like they expanded it because it's a home version of this arcade game, so they wanted to give you more for your fucking $35 or $45 or however much this costs, even though in my mind it had to be $60.
Right?
Yeah. So, I think that's a deliberate choice that they wanted to be there because, players they thought wanted that. And I mean, I don't know how you criticize them for giving you more.
Right, especially playing quarters at the arcade. If you were good at it, if you were good at it at the arcade enough so that you wanted to purchase the home port, you want a little something extra. So I respect.
Yep. And yeah, man. I mean, I think it's a fucking great flying shmup. I don't know how anyone says otherwise. I don't see how you don't put it in the upper echelon of shmups on the system. I mean, if you gotta play one, which, I don't know how I feel about that, but if you gotta play one, it should be right up there with Life Force and. I mean, I don't know. Life Force is the only thing I even want to put with it, to be honest with you. I mean, I can't think of another flying shmup. I mean, there's some land-based shooters. I really like Jackal and Heavy Barrel and shit. But Kari Warriors is a guilty pleasure of mine. But, I mean, flying shmups, I mean, like, not my fucking bag at all. And, I mean, this is, I don't know what else I would put ahead of this.
I don't know, man. I was with you right up until the end there. I was with you. So you're saying you give it the blessing? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, sorry. I guess I didn't finish. The final boss too. Also, like I said, every bit of what I want out of those. It was hard, challenging, but still possible, and it. It gives you the accomplished feeling. Like all that shit's there, man. All that shit's there, and I just don't know how you don't give it the blessing. I mean, if within I guess with the only caveat to it is that. If you are someone who somehow hates shmups more than me, flying shmups more than me, especially space shmups, then maybe you are not going to enjoy this at all, or enough to warrant the blessing, rather. But even with that caveat, I still want to give it to it. So yes, I want to give it the blessing.
Oh man! All right. What I expected, considering our very different experiences. I will say. I always ask whenever we come to this, did I have fun? I definitely had fun in the beginning, for sure. In the early on, it's very well done with the way that the enemies change. The boss battles they get difficult, they change. I get that, all the things we've said, and I understand that, and I do appreciate that. But for me, whenever I think of a flying shooter. And the things in it that normally cause me to have fun, it's like easy movement controls and escalating weapons.
But is it not? Well, I guess
that's
I'm willing to admit
that's
not
me,
easy, but it's just different. I feel like it's like the Bionic Commando conundrum. It's like, the startup cost on this is fucking high, man. Like you just go into this and what do you mean? What do you mean I can't jump on a platformer? Like, what do you mean?
Right?
The fuck are you talking about? But if you play it enough to get used to that new mechanic, it is well done, I think.
But that's what I mean. Like it's got to be comfortable flying if it's going to be a flying shooter, and like. I was just never comfortable with that. Maybe if I went through and tried it again, because this is the only game that I owned and I gotta like it, so let me try, different things, then maybe using that Control B would have been much easier. I also think not having rapid fire and the fact that I am pretty much required to have an NES Advantage or some other type of thing. I can't just have my normal NES.
You could have just gone into the control set and changed because at least Nestopia does. I'm assuming.
No. Wait. Hold on. Time out though. But that's what I'm talking about. You're requiring me to go in and do extra stuff into a computer system instead of just being able to grab my handy dandy NES controller and you know what I mean, and just go into town with it. Instead, like I'm sweating, I'm exhausted, I'm like button mashing. You know what I mean? Like,
but even
it should not require me to have different software to really enjoy it.
You would have just grabbed your NES Advantage.
No, but I did not have an NES Advantage. That's what I mean. Like growing up, I never had one. So if I'm
good, no turbo controller at all.
No, I did not. I did not have a turbo controller. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna,
Jay,
if I'm renting this game,
what did you do to your parents that they didn't love you?
Oh my gosh! If I'm playing this game, if my mom is going, she's renting me this game after work, and I'm like, sweet, I got 3 days to play this game, and I'm playing this with my standard NES like I was just now. Only I don't have save states, and I don't maybe know that the backwards Konami code works. I am absolutely hating this game, and I'm just like, like 3 days later, thanks mom for renting this. Please don't rent it again. Like this is not so good. This is not so great. So so that's why, you know, if I think about this now, would I recommend it to someone? Only under very very particular circumstances. Like, would I consider playing it for fun if it was remastered? I might see how maybe it was I would check it out just to see if it was different in any way or if it's just like the exact same thing but different graphics.
Man,
but it's
the lean thing with the fucking VR controllers would be fucking awesome.
Right, like
the triggers,
anything else.
Literally lean with the triggers. Oh, it would be so cool.
But as currently constructed, man, I can't give it the blessing. Like I see what they did. I respect the fact that the arcade was one way. The commercials even reinforced that. Like, this is what we're dealing with. I feel like I need extra stuff. I need the NES Advantage. I need to be able to save state. I need, to be able to actually pick it up and have fun. And if I'm going on a trip, for example, and I'm just taking my normal stuff with me, if I just have my computer and I'm not bringing the NES Advantage, I'm not packing that, then I'm not playing this game. So I unfortunately cannot give it the blessing. Denied.
It's funny you say that. So I've been on fucking up in Malibu doing this flick, and I've been working nonstop since March. So I've needed to go somewhere pretty much all year long. Right. And yeah, like I will definitely, once I get things on coast mode with one of these projects, I will take my NES controller and fucking work on this shit in the office when I have downtime. And in this case, because I needed that turbo, I was like, there's no chance.
See? Exactly. You're proving my point, John.
But again, I think that's a shiesty ass way to discredit something, because either you have a turbo controller.
Josh, you're just saying you're being classist. You're just saying only the wealthy can play my game.
You!
They have to go buy an NES Advantage,
I didn't have one,
which in my mind was like $80 as a kid.
I'd have went out and panhandled. I'd have went out and washed windows at the fucking stoplight. I'd have done something to get my ass an NES Advantage for sure. If I didn't have any turbo controller, I don't even know. Yeah. I would have figured something. I would have fucking sweet talked grandma. I would have done something.
Maybe. I think I just uncovered something. Maybe this is why, to this day, I enjoy high DPS games where you got to go through rotations pretty fast, because I'm just so used to, like, if I'm playing games as a kid, like, that's what I'm doing. Whereas you're just like, I'm on coast mode. Like, I'm not doing any of that.
That's very possible. It's very possible. Just for sure. That could be it. Yeah, the what do you call that? That's the, I don't know, the economic significance of the caloric cost of video game input has less value to me, because it's always been at a more easily obtained.
There you go.
Fair. Okay, so one of two. The last time we had a split, I think, was Dino Ricky, and it was in the other direction. I don't know if we've had a split where I went yes and you went no. Have we? I'll have to go back through the archives and
I feel like
verify
it's
that.
Often me yes, and if we're gonna split. First time for everything.
Yeah. Well, no, we both were no on Captain Skyhawk. Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we are going to bop over to GamePro for issue 12 next, and you can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided by whatever dumbass company that shows your pottery. Oh, we may finish the Final Fantasy side quest too before. We'll see. Depends. I don't know. Where are you at on that? Where are you? I am.
I feel like I'm close to, like, I've got to be, unless there's something I don't know about. Like, I'm very close to the end. Like,
have you all the orbs lit?
No. I gotta get the fourth. I stopped there because I was like, I feel like I'm about to end the game, and I'm gonna, I didn't want to finish it so early. I was like, I'm gonna come back to this, work on Gyruss, and come back. But I felt like I was very at the end already.
Copy.
But if you're saying I'm not, then we'll see. More to come.
Not sure. You can, or please do, rate and leave positive shit for the pod on the podcast platform of choice that you engage, or any other for that matter. The website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. You can email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the pod on Facebook and or Instagram. The link to the YouTube gameplay videos playlist is in the show notes. There's the ISOH subreddit. If you want to get down on us on Reddit, we don't have a Patreon, but if you'd like giving money to things podcasters tell you to and would like to do so at our direction, the Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities, and that is cool as fuck. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. T-shirts are on the website. They're dope, and proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers. And Jay, what are your socials?
Gentleman JB without the second E. That's where you can find me on Instagram, Facebook. That's my gamer tag. Add me to your fire team on Halo. Jump in with me on Elden Ring, whatever. Let's go.
I am on Twitter at Josh Folan. I am on Instagram at MyShiftKeyIsBroke. And my Oculus gamer tag is MyShiftKeyIsBroke if you want to get fucking wasted in Walkabout Mini Golf. Okay, bye.
Bye.